Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has harem with Calavera and Ruby. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by BLAZERAPTOR54 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Act 1. Sacrifice. When it happened quickly and without remorse. They came one autumn night, searching for him, and unfortunately for those people he wasn't there. They butchered them, striking their lives from the annals of life. Burying them was hard enough, realizing that he alone, was their death's reason it broke him inside. No one could give him comfort, honeyed words soothed bruised egos. His was far from a bruised ego, he had lost two of his most precious people. All because of the terrible crime of just being a Jinchuriki. It wasn't long before until he received a message. It came from a being in mask who offered him a simple choice. Die and let his friends be spared. Or live and watch them die one by one. Small wonder, on October 10th, his 13th birthday, no one saw him. He was far into the winds, walking towards the village hidden in the rain. Destiny, fate, whatever you may call it, beckoned this confrontation since the moment he drew air into his lungs. It would end, hopefully, with his sacrifice. The deaths of Sakura Haruno and Kakashi Haddock wouldn't be avenged. However, his death could bring about peace, no more needles killings. Such a world, such words, they beckoned him to take the chance. When he wandered into the village, bathed inside of its rain, he saw them. The Akatsuki expected him, meeting him, few were muttering about him. One in particular was jeering him. Their leader, a man with piercings and funny eyes, silenced them. He simply did the impossible, he walked up to his executioner. Kneeling down on both knees, holding his arms out together in front of him. Surrendering, giving up, all things that simply no one would ever think possible of him. His dreams, his ambitions and hopes all died with the action of surrender. In doing so, dooming himself, there would be no coming back home. Maybe in death, finally resting, he could gain all that he had lost. His parents, his friends, perhaps even acceptance. He was taken to the tower at the center of the village. Never speaking a word, not giving anyone the satisfaction of tears, nor begging. His bravest moment, his finest hour, was the day that Naruto Uzumaki showed no fear in the face of certain death. "It's time," a voice said to him while he sat in a cold cell. "For what's worth, brat, few others would have had the courage to do what you've done." He stood up from the cell, not speaking a word. His cerulean blue eyes simply stared lifelessly at the guard. He opens the door of the cell, allowing him to pass. Gone were his orange clothes, the bright colors replaced by gray, wearing nothing but a dingy pants and shirt. Held for 3 nights, no food or water, no final meal. The blonde found himself walking down in his funeral procession all alone. Guards inside the prison halls muttered to themselves, the room filling with chatter as they escort him to his finest hour. He's just a boy, facing God, yet he shows no fear. Blessed be the Jinchuriki, their lives for our true freedom from war. Lady Conan should make him a shrine of beautiful orange flowers. May Lord Pain make his death swift. May he no longer suffer this cruel world. The procession marched forward, one of the guards feeling guilty, simply cut the others off. He got the key for his chains out, making the others tense before march is over. With a hard lip, trickles of small tears, he simply unbinds the blonde teen. Naruto looked up to him, giving him a soft but sad smile. His chains on his wrists clattered to the floor, red marks already healing. Right now, if he wanted to, unleashing the 9 tails would crush everyone in this tower. However, what would revenge truly solve? What could it ever possibly bring back that which was lost? The guard moves out of the way, allowing him to continue his death march. Soon he came to the large steel doors, God's inner sanctum, and they slowly opened to reveal his executioners. All of them garbed in those black cloaks, with blood-red clouds, made to stand sternly. In the center of the room was a stone. Pain stood in the middle of the group, his arms to his side. He softly speaks out to the blonde, Uzumaki Naruto. "Please step forward to the stone, do not resist." Nodding, Naruto felt a brief hesitation spread over him, and then slowly he marched. Each step echoed in the chamber, water dripping from waterworks across the room. A darkened temple, for a dark deed to be done. He stood at the stone, seeing a beautiful blue-haired woman with the same type of piercing walk toward him. "Lay on the stone, relax, do not fight it." She ordered him softly before watching as he did so. "No more pain, young one." For the first time in the last 4 days, Naruto found it in himself to roll his eyes. Honeyed words, all it was honeyed words. His wrists were locked, his bare feet locked, and slowly rested his eyes up to the ceiling. A small bit of light penetrated the tower's temple, he stared into the light. Focusing on it and took a deep breath while preparing himself. Summoning Jutsu. Jito statue. Pain shouted before the room filled with smoke, clouding the light. It must be a sunny day outside, perhaps this is what the guard talked about. Nine Tails, I'm so sorry for this, please forgive me. You didn't deserve this, I didn't deserve this, but this is our ending. Naruto closes his eyes as he prayed, prepared at last. Phantom Dragons. 9 Consuming Seals Jutsu. Pain's jutsu emerged from the mouth of demonic statue. Pain circled Naruto Uzumaki, flowing around him like water around a rock. His heart raced, this was it, the ending. Calming down, but then the pain came. The first dragons gripped him, draining him of his chakra. His shirt rips apart, revealing the 8 trigram seal, which began to bleed black ink. Gasping for air, he screams silently as his back arches upward. He looked at all of them, then noticed something particularly interesting. Among their number, Itachi Uchiha was nowhere to be found. I don't think he knows yet. His eyes widened when the Nine Tails voice filled his head. Red chakra slowly leaked from the seal, draining into the mouth of the demonic statue. Naruto's fingernails turned to claws and then back to normal, his body suffering influxes from the tailed beast's chakra rolling over it. He thrashes against the chains, finally his scream broke through, shrill and pain-filled. We have to hold out, just a little longer. They chanted as his chakra flowed from him, his cerulean eyes lighting up between glowing blue and red. Those chains binding him glowed with seals, slowly shining brighter and brighter as more of the Nine Tails chakra flowed outward. Minutes turned to hours of pure agony, with red chakra now snuffing the voice out as it dragged up from his throat. He felt that hot lava was burning down his throat, roasting it, blood leaks from his mouth as he feels his vocal cords shear away. The Jito statue greedily took in the boy's suffering and feasted on his chakra, along with the Nine Tails. Nine Tails. Naruto was dragged into his subconscious. His chakra network's pipes were bursting left and right, the chakra leaving them. He slowly walks toward the seal, ripping the tag off. The Nine Tails, a giant fox of impossible size, stood behind the gates. They both had one chance, and one chance only. I knew that this man had access to that damnable statue. It said to Naruto before watching the gate open slightly. For what it is worth, no other human compares in idiocy and bravery. Naruto weakly chuckles, it's not stupid if it works, now do your thing. I sense a seventh, all of others lead back to him. In the chaos, you'll have a 3-minute window before I cannot support your body's main functions. End it, get your vengeance. The Nine Tails instructed Naruto before bursting out of the gate. Cinch with me, Naruto raised his fist up weakly, feeling their hatred connecting them along with their wills. Let's do this for all of them. Black markings appeared around Naruto's eyes, his eyes turning red. Although he couldn't scream because his vocal cords had been ripped apart, he opened his mouth into a silent one. His appearance changing was normal, Pain having saw the other 3 Jinchuriki having done the same. Finally, the brat shuts up, one Akatsuki member with a scythe stated. It was getting annoying, but this delicious suffering will please Lord Jashin. Be silent, Pain ordered him before continuing. Let go, Uzumaki Naruto, and join your family. Naruto felt hot tears roll down his face. His grips on his own hands loosening before massive waves of red chakra poured from him. It forms into the visages of the nine-tailed fox. Many Akatsuki members celebrated, the labor only taking so long, but something was very wrong. Although Pain didn't hate Naruto, never wanting him to suffer, this ritual should have taken days not hours. The visage became solid, a massive black ball in front its jaws. Uzumaki Naruto looked up, then over at Pain, a smirk smeared across his face. He never targeted the entire tower, just his friends' murderers, and he did exactly what they wanted him to do. Because he knew from watching the guards, they would retreat when a ritual would occur. Having seen a blonde-haired woman suffer the same fate he was enduring, and he smiled as the Nine Tails did his plan. The black ball of energy slams forward, not at Pain, but the statue. Pain's Rinnegan eyes widened as it connected, slamming into his means of controlling his ultimate weapon. No, Pain breathed before realizing what Naruto had done. What have you done? You killed us all. The tailed beast bomb grew larger as it shattered the statue. The other captured beasts became free, all 4 of them, and it was Pain's haste to finish his task that formulated the plan. The Nine Tails truly was a crafty, shifty bastard when it came to its knowledge of jutsu. He knew what exact jutsu Pain would use, bringing the knowledge to Naruto, who decided to get justice. Do it, furball, do it now. Nine Tails. Tailed beast bomb. The Jito statue cracked, splitting apart before erupting into a massive explosion. The tall tower at the center of village expanded outwards before collapsing in on itself. A rift forming at the top, swirling, absorbing everything around it. The Nine Tails chakra slammed back into Naruto as he was lifted up, chains ripped asunder. His heartbeat began to slow down, watching as the 8 trigram seal barely began to reform. He let go of any hope of survival after this, his executioners dying from debris around him. That same man who insulted him earlier had fallen into the sphere of chakra that exploded the Jito statue. Nothing but ashes of him remained, and all others were getting hit by debris on their way up. Pain himself, now standing with 5 other copies of varying sizes, carried a wheelchair-bound man. Attempting to escape, but quickly he too succumbs to the force of the gravity well. Closing his eyes, Naruto felt himself getting slung toward rift. "Brat, do not die on me just yet, little choice. Don't you think we've opened up a rift? This is unexpected, but makes things easier. I didn't see Itachi here cut the head off the snake and the body dies right, here we go 2 minutes." Inside the rift Naruto felt an unbearable coldness. His eyes briefly fluttered open as he saw Pain and his lookalikes floating in space. That's when Naruto saw his opportunity, using what little strength he had left, he kicks off at debris. Not even controlling where he was going, feeling no gravity, he manages to grab a couple pieces of glass shard from the space inside of the rift. He uses this form's enhanced senses to feel out where everyone was. His senses didn't fail him as he picked up his target. Pain and his lookalikes were scattered away from the man in the wheelchair. He figures that this man, and this man alone, was the true Pain. All chakra connecting the other lookalikes flowed back to him. Floating over to him, pretending to be passed out. He felt the man's gaze fall upon him like an executioner's axe. The pure pressure of that glare wanted to make him beg, but he remained silent. "You little bastard, you've ruined everything. They could have had it all, Uzumaki Naruto, all you had to do was just die." The wheelchair-bound Pain screamed at the boy's floating body. "I'll kill you myself, then I'll kill all of your pathetic friends in Konoha. Every violation imaginable, my justice, my vengeance shall be complete." He continued while watching the blonde float closer. He formed a black receiver in his hand as the blonde approaches closer. At the last second when stabbed outward toward Naruto's head, the blonde twists to avoid the strike. Red fox-like eyes met the Rinnegan eyes of the true Pain. That's when they widened, all of his paths were too far out of position. Naruto drew back and sent the glass shard sailing, having only been 6 feet away. It found its target, obliterating Pain's Rinnegan. "Ah!" Pain screamed bloody murder holding his ruined eyes, leaning back in his wheelchair and screaming in agony. All at once, the lookalikes fell silent, floating in the void as the light from its opening closed. The real Pain, if that was even his name, screams in sheer agony as Naruto got closer. He wasn't too hard to find due to the noise. Naruto wraps his arms around the man's throat. He tried to speak, but found his speech garbled from damage. He bent down, making sure he could hear him, his mouth less than an inch from Pain's ear. "Thus he whispered brokenly before pulling back hard. An audible crack filled the void as he kicked the body away from him. His chakra network coming back online, but his body having sustained too many injuries to truly heal fully ever again. His vital organs were damaged, his throat was in ruins, and he didn't doubt for a minute he was on death's door. Leave it to the number, unpredictable, knucklehead as Sakura would put it to get the job done. Naruto looks at the body floating away, "That was for everyone, you bastard. Hang on brat, just let me go, you can reform no. Aww you do care asshole Otsutsuki gods, you're such pest, shut up and let me try to keep us from dying." Floating there, Naruto's eyes fill with tears as he weakly adjusts himself in the void. Body ripped asunder internally, the 9 tails attempting to heal him as best he could. The 13-year-old took a deep breath, falling asleep while his body continued to drift in the rift. Taking deep, shuddering breaths, his consciousness was barely hanging on. "Do you think in another life we can be friends? Shut your mouth, human, and let me heal you. Thank you for always being there for me. Wait, I feel something shuddering this void, I sense gravity. Sayonara furball Naruto." Something emerges from the void, a light, brighter than anything Naruto would have ever seen in his lifetime. In its glory shows the carnages wreaked by the blonde. All of the Akatsuki members were dead, floating in the space, having been crushed by various debris. Naruto was being dragged toward the light, gravity taking hold. The debris and bodies slowly fell toward it as well. Into the world beyond the light, a world filled with broken moonlight. Broken moon. Sometimes when you sacrifice something precious, you're not really losing it. You're just passing it on to someone else. Which album? Maria Calavera was sitting down in a small clearing. The aging woman with silver hair adjusted her tobacco-style dress with its brown coat. She is entering twilight years, now just exploring the world. Goggles on her eyes adjusted, allowing her to see in the snow. Ever since a fateful fight and loss of her eyes, she began walking the surface of Remnant alone. Currently on animus, crunching her boots into the snow. The old woman groans as she felt her back pop. Old age definitely felt like sour milk compared to fine wine to her. Her latest adventure was taking her on a hiking trip in a generally safe area of Anima. Crescent deer, umbra bears, and even vermilion foxes were out despite the cold. Such beautiful, small things, few truly appreciate life in such a manner. Approaching a vermilion fox, its shiny coat glittering in the shattered moonlight, Maria smiled when it noticed her. It ran over, obviously having interacted with people before. She got out some beef jerky, letting it take some into its mouth. The little sharp teeth clacking on the dried meat, chewing and swallowing all broken bits of it. "Easy my little friend," Maria coos while sitting down in the snow. "The faster eat, the less you get to savor it." It yips, finishing the jerky off before snuggling up to Twilight Woman. Leaning against a tree, she breathes a sigh of satisfaction. Having no children of her own, never finding that special guy, her entire life now fell to adventure. Occasionally she'd run into people who needed help, minor bandit issues, small grim incursions. Life and death would release from their holdings in her pack. The Grim Reaper would shine for all but a few moments. She knew, even these small eccentricities were slowly ending. Her old body, lack of stamina, made her realize that her flower was blooming in the garden. Soon, hopefully not too soon, she would end up being plucked. Much like her father before her, the friends she served with, and even enemies she fought. Sometimes, life was unfair and flowers got plucked before their blossoming. All that she could do now, while still here, was leave something behind. A seed, something to grow, something to make bloom in this dark world of monsters. 15 miles away from the nearest settlement, only thing out here was the Brawn Bandits. A loud bunch, but undisciplined, easy prey to huntsmen. Still though, Maria wouldn't want to get caught up in a fight with the group. Old as she was, weak as she became, she'd give them one hell of a send-off to remember her by. Thunder coursed throughout the land. This perturbed slightly, thundershowers in cusp of winter weren't unheard of. Something about this, however, set her instincts on edge. That sense of adventure overloading her better judgment. The loud crash as something slammed into the mountainside nearest to her. Her ADA systems picking up the direction of the shockwave, which made her stunned as heard ADA warn her about a gravitational anomaly. Ah well, time to go exploring. She cackled while getting up, the vermilion fox following her as she wandered deeper into the woods. The forest was silent, all the animals she had seen were gone. She saw the first body, tangled up in the trees, wearing cloaks. The elderly woman knew that this man must have been involved in a cult, the robe screamed cult. Ignoring the body, she moves forward, using life as a small cane. Whistling as she walks forward, she cringes when the ADA sees the body of 2 more people, wearing the same robes. Friggin' grim cults, do not pet the giant Ursa, it likes to eat you. She bemoaned to the dead around her before coming across wreckage some kind. Jane's. She only chuckles at that, on second thought, do not leash the giant Ursa, it likes to eat you. Death to her was only natural, comedic in a way if someone died a foolish death. Heroic and foolish often got mixed together, but a foolish death was something common sense saves people from. Don't stick the fork in the light socket, do not use fire dust to light up your house, and for the love of the brother gods, don't eat electric dust. All of these hypothetical nuisances have happened in her lifetime. Generally, people still do dumb stuff, no matter how much you scream at that it's a bad idea. She began to feel less amused until she wandered onto the body of a man in a wheelchair. His eyes had been stabbed with glass shards. This wasn't grim. She readied life, the bottom of her cane now unfurled its blade. Looking around, making sure that no psychotic killer was lurking about. She examined the body just a little bit more and in familiarity to the pain cringing. He was alive when the shards got his eyes, but the way his neck was disjointed meant it had been broken. That was the death-causing injury. Not feeling too bad for him, empathetic over the eyes, because he also had one of those damned robes on. Okay, scratch the grim cult theory, hello human sacrifice. Geez, they weren't lying in the brochure about a once-in-a-lifetime journey. Maria commented sardonically before noting that man black rods all through his back. You must have been some type of freak back in the day, good riddance I suppose. Having come across this she proceeded with caution. Pressing a button on her prothesis device, ADA activate Serrano protocol. Activating Serrano protocol. Her vision expanded and the full extent of the wreckage became known to her. Weapons littered the ground. A large scythe with 2 blades, various mask-like things. Steel rods, chains, kunai knives, scalpels, and even some sort of launcher. Bent down, grabbing the scythe, noting that it folds up. Grabbing it up, she felt the metal, some sort of steel. Composition unknown, familiar metal is titanium. She purses her lips in surprise, strapping the folded scythe up. Walking forward still, unafraid, that's when her eye implant indicating someone alive near her. He laid there, in heap of broken bones. ADA measured out his vitals, declaring him critical. Maria wasted no time, scooping up the boy. Shouldering him, despite her old age, and began run away from the wreckage. Sakea the boy brokenly choked out, blood leaking from his mouth. Shy. Her dress became stained with the blood, yet she continued running. Hot steam rose from her mouth, it had been a while since she ran like this. Quickly getting back on the trail, using life to help propel her forward over a large amount of brush and fallen trees. The broken moonlight shines brightly on her, snowfall increasing as clouds began to move in. Running back to Mistral City wasn't an option, she ended up going to a smaller town. Higginbona laid on the road to Mistral City. Maria was breathing hoarsely when she enters the town, noting that most people were asleep. Damn it, she thinks to herself before running toward the small medical building. Be awake, you old ass. She slams up against the door, finding that it gave. A man with a white beard stood up, readying a pistol. He looks at Maria and just gave her a sigh of relief. Damn it, Maria, what have I told about that? The old man complained before stuffing the pistol and then took notice of the child on her back. Who the hell is that? That's boy, Renard, you old fox. Now come on, kid's losing blood. Maria screamed as she kicked in a door to a small observation room. She places him on the table, looking over him. His breathing was shuddering, shallow, obviously he was drowning slightly in his blood. The doctor, Renard, ran into the room. His white fox tail dragging behind, getting out his medical bag from a cabinet. Move back, geez, want me to get slowed down even more, you old hag. Renard complained before taking a portable scan gun. He skims over the body of the child, cursing under his breath, gods above. Where the hell did you find him? Don't tell me you did this. This kid broken, I mean seriously, broken ribs, broken arm, internal organs. I've seen people mauled better than this, Renard declared while getting out some needles and medicine. If he has aura active, maybe he gets through the night. What are giving him? Maria inquired, watching as Renard stuck the needle into the arm of the teen. Some really expensive medicine that I just got in today for a client. Ever heard of nanites? I'm injecting him with one specifically programmed to stimulate healing factor of the body. If he's going to live, then he needs everything I've got. Even then, Maria, it's anyone's game. Like I said, Ursa victims have better survival odds at this point. Renard yelled while going into panic mode, grabbing his gear. His cerulean eyes open, the boy locks onto Renard, holy shit, he's awake. Maria couldn't believe her eyes, seeing the child move his head around. The boy's eyes simply rolled to the back of his head, slumping to one side. Renard got electric paddles out, clearing Maria out before placing them on the boy's chest, clear. The body jolted up, with Renard doing it again, while simultaneously attaching him to a monitoring system. His heart beating erratic, the next jolt writes it into a proper rhythmic beat. Getting a needle out, he draws some blood from the child and runs out the door. Maria hears him shouting, cursing, and hollering. Finally coming back after a few minutes with a bag full of blood in his hand. She moves to the side as he puts an IV into his arm, placing an IV bag to the side and with the blood. He coughs up more blood before something starts to happen. Steam rose off cuts, slowly but surely healing them. What in the world is going on here? Renard questioned before moving closing, it's like it's stitching itself back together. Interesting, hopefully he can continue that. Maria frowns while looking at him, I found him amongst some type of rubble. Here, this was amongst it. She handed Renard the strange scythe, letting look at it. The man nearly cuts his finger while examining the blade. Remarking that it was almost scalpel blade along the edge. Placing it down in the corner, the faunus man just sighed and took a seat. He had to have fallen from a great height, I'm noticing broken legs too. Anything else? He questioned while Maria thought about her answer, is this bandit related? It could be, but I think it's occult related, I found these weird bastards cloaked in some type of road a few miles away. Hopefully, he can make a recovery and tell us. Maria said before resting in a chair. Don't mind me, I'm not leaving his side until he either comes out of this or passes. Renard rolls his eyes, Maria, I hope lives, but it's a long shot. The nanite treatment is going to take 12 hours at least, tomorrow if he's still losing platelets, then I'll know my answer. Not leaving, someone has to be here with this poor child. He's someone's son, she reasoned before sighing. What truly cruel world we inherited, Renard. Indeed, Ms. Calavera, I'm going to make a call to a friend of mine. Perhaps they evacuate him Mistral City, but his fees don't come cheap. Renard warned her before walking out of the room. Naruto walks through a grass field as the Konoha was blanketed. Kakashi and Sakura had invited him to a home-cooked dinner. It was the first time they did so and were doing it as a team since Sasuke's departure. He appreciated the efforts to cheer him up. He'd be leaving when Jiraiya got back in a couple months, this was one of the few times he'd get to enjoy. Wandering up to Kakashi's house, which was modest, the first signs of trouble were present. He expected to be welcomed at the door, or at the very least the door slightly ajar. The door being kicked open, now that was unusual. He ran inside and saw the first of many horrors. There had been a fight, a losing fight. Kakashi was dead on the floor. Black rods across his body, the fatal one having gotten him in the chest over his heart. He stood, shuddering, and then thought about her. Sakura. He screams her name repeatedly, running into the rooms of the house. He saw that the back window was smashed outward. She had escaped through here, perhaps help would be on their way as well. The cool wind of October bit at him, it was October the 1st. The beginning of the Kitsune festival. A festival he usually hated, but this time around would have enjoyed. Sakura, please, answer me. Naruto screams while dashing throughout the back of the wooded area. It was clear she had made an escape attempt. Then he saw it, that red strap to her headband. It was laying on the ground, she'd never leave that unless it was an emergency. "Sakura. Please. It's me, Naruto." He calls out before dashing forward into the forest. Running so fast that the trees blur, his breath's becoming hot steam as the core temperature of his body reached the same level as his anxiety. Knocking away brush, Naruto came across the riverbank. Anbu circles the area ahead of him, apparently, they did detect an intruder. The body they lifted out of the river, he could only silently hang his mouth open. Uttering nothing except choked sobs, hot tears spilled from his eyes. Sakura's limp body was being carried by Shizune of all people, bruises across her face. Cuts, hair ripped out, bloodied, and beaten. She had been tortured to death and held for a time it seemed until help came. The small piece of cloth, tied around her hand, with black coloring and red clouds, let him know who did it. He sunk to his knees, and finally one thing did escape that night. Naruto's shrill screams of anguish, having just lost his one true family, Team 7 was dead. Maria woke up the next morning, looking on as the boy still laid unconscious. He was moving wildly, a nightmare. His arm flailed upward, loud popping noises as freshly healed bones rebroke again. Tears spilled from his eyes, and he continued wallowing in agony. Reaching out, grabbing his hand, the boy just slowly lulls himself to calmness. She noted a change in him overnight, once anyway that stopped the bleeding. His fingers had grown claws, the whisker marks on his cheeks thickened slightly. He laid, now breathing hoarsely. Bernard Evergreen came back into his observation room, "No dice on the transport, I tried. He extract some blood from the blonde, she kept secret the change in him." He got out his portable scanner, checking his body, and then gasps lightly. "My gods, his major organs are rapidly healing now. Perhaps it's his semblance," he observed with a hint of excitement. "I don't know," she commented on it before stroking his hand. "This kid's hands are full of calluses. Could be a farm boy." Renard suggested before taking notes, "I'll be back with the rest of the results." "I don't know about that," she murmured while looking at the boy's chest, where he had a scar. "What kind of life have you lived, I wonder?" After a few minutes, Renard waltzed back in. A stunned look on his face. He looks at the monitors and the IV bag. His body was circulating much quicker than what normal people did. Semblance, it had to be some sort of semblance, otherwise Maria stumbled upon someone unnaturally regenerative. "Well doc, what's the news?" she inquired while still holding his hand to keep him calm. "Not good." Bernard coughs, clearing his throat, "The opposite actually. His blood count is up, all of his numbers are swinging in the right direction." He got out the portable scanner again, looking at his legs. He scanned over both of them slowly, a few cracks in the bone, but otherwise almost healed. He moves the scanner to his upper body, frowning as some internal organs still showed major contusions. His ribs, most of them, still cracked. Whatever his healing ability was, it obviously valued him being able to move first and foremost. Moving up, he stops at his throat and then frowned. He moved closer, clicking a few buttons on the scanner. His throat was corroded, as if someone poured acid down it. He saw tissue healing, compared to what it had been. However, the one thing he notices a few bits of vocal cord tissue left. Rubbing his beard, the doctor took a deep breath. "He'll be lucky if he doesn't need a stoma." He places his hand on the teen's head. "He's got a high fever." That's when Renard noticed that the boys were fluttering open. His patient began to writhe a little on the bed. Cerulean eyes snapping open, yanking his hand away from Maria before giving a throaty scream that was beyond sounding damaged. His entire body racked with pain, Renard ran over to a medicine cabinet. "There it is," Renard declares before running over and jabbing him. "Okay, guy, let's go back to sleep, okay?" "What did you just give him?" Maria yelled while watching the teen go limp. Renard took a deep breath, a huge dose of painkillers, right into the common artery. His cerulean eyes remained open, half-lidded, mangled tongue hanging out his mouth. Steam rose off it as it began to rapidly heal as well. Renard expected him to remain in this in-between state for an hour, but much to his shock his eyes move. He didn't have to react as the blonde teen snatched the needle out his hands, throwing it into the wall. Breathing hard and rapidly, he clutches his chest before several loud pops came out. His bones resetting themselves, he looked at them. Moving up on the bed, looking around. His head killing him, swimming from the pain, he gagged before hurling onto the ground. Acid staining his throat, making the pain a lot more intense. He leaned on the bed, opening his mouth but no words coming out. Maria walks over to the teen, "Can you speak to me, son?" "War," he tried to talk, clutching his throat from the pain. "War?" She repeated what she thought he said. He shook his head, making a motion with his hand for water. Trotting over to the sink, getting a pitcher, she filled it up to the brim before walking over to him. He animalistically snatches it out of her hand, draining it down in gulps. Even more audible pops occurring as he chugs the blessed water from the sink tap. Dropping the pitcher after losing his grip and spilling the backwash on him. He looked at the doctor, pleading with him for him to do something about the pain. "Help me." He brokenly begged before more and more of his body popped, bruising forming on his skin. Renard ran out of the room, grabbing some more painkillers. He came back in, holding a needle out. He presses it into Naruto's IV port and plunging. The drug flooded his body, making it felt hot. He leaned back onto the bed while Maria dodged vomit and got him more water. She brought it over to him, watching as once again he animalistically chugged it down as fast as he could. He handed her the jug this time, breathing out, "Thanu. Listen kid, try to not use your voice, your vocal cords are severely damaged." Renard told him while taking the blood work. "Can you understand me?" The blonde nodded his head, confused at where he was. He indicated he needed a pen and paper. Maria moved over to the desk, snatching a chart up. Holding it out to him. He quickly flips to a clear page, writing down on it. He held it up, "Where?" "You're on Anima, specifically you're in a small little hamlet called Higanbana. Don't you have any family nearby, someone we can report you to?" Maria inquired while watching him bite his lip. He then wrote down another sentence, "What nation am I in?" "You're in Mistral, why, were you from Menagerie or something?" She inquired, watching his face scrunch up in confusion. The next sentence he wrote made her confused even more. "What is a menagerie and where is it?" "Kid, don't you know where the continents are?" "The Four Kingdoms?" She questioned, watching him write down a single word. Confused. Chapter 2. Act 1. A New Beginning. Naruto had it explained to him and it took thrice for it to sink. He wasn't anywhere he'd ever know, especially if he had stayed on his own world. Instead, whatever that rift-thingy hole was open sucked him into this new world. He studied over the maps the nice old woman gave him. The doctor had excused himself about an hour, convinced that Naruto was just some messed up kid. In a way, it did take some type of craziness to willingly walk into a pit of vipers. "Kid, try to speak again." Maria encouraged while watching his mouth open. His throat burns, only broken words coming out, unable to be discerned. Frowning at his own inability to speak, he figured that the Nine Tails was still healing him. Earlier, about 3 hours ago, he had the worst pain his life as the furball reset every single rib. It felt like invisible hands reaching, wrenching them into place. She frowns at him, sighing, "With the rest of your body healing that you should have had some type of progress." Naruto merely frowns, writing down on a piece of paper, "Bad. Well, like Renard said yesterday, you're lucky that you didn't need a stoma. It's a little hole in your throat, helps you breathe. Anyway, back on track, Renard told me that while your windpipe is naturally getting better, it seems your vocal cords are absolutely devastated." She read through his chart, having swiped it from the man. She sighs and gives the boy a knowing smile, "You're also suffering still from inner body bruising around your organs. The chances of you getting out this week are low, plus you can't have solid foods just yet since you're being monitored." This, Maria woman, granny more like it. She had been the one to find him in the snow. The very fact that she was able to get him here and remain alive meant that he had succeeded. The Akatsuki, in all of their hubris, had been shown that even Naruto Uzumaki wasn't above it all. Deep in his heart, somewhere in the darkness, the lie of justice sounded nice. He just didn't want to kill anyone innocent, but the fact of the matter was, Sasuke had been right. Not until you've lost everything, seen it taken from you, did you really know what type of person you turn into. Turning into what amounted to be a human bomb, big enough to wipe a village from the face of the planet, that made him worse than Sasuke. The mere fact that he and the Nine Tails came to an accord over hatred made him sink to Sasuke's level. The power, by God the power felt amazing despite having been on death's door. It was strong enough to make him live through a partial extraction after already nearly starving himself a week. It was potent enough to allow him 3 minutes, more than enough time, to track the real pain down. Naruto wasn't a fool. Lifeless eyes, piercings, and never speaking save for the one. They were stringless puppets, nothing more than body doubles, finding the real one was a matter of time. Pride undid pain, that sorry bastard wouldn't admit this. Capturing the nine-tailed fox had been an Akatsuki operation since the day he was born and he was there to see it to an end, just not the end Naruto imagined pain wanting. Still, his thoughts drifted to Jiraiya, Tsunade, and the rest of his friends. They must all think he's gone, dead forever, perhaps in this death he could be the hero for a change. Not the demon fox, not the menace to Konoha, but just Naruto Uzumaki the hero. Come to think of it, it's all he ever wanted, was just that acknowledgement. Sorry pervy sage, I guess you don't get to see me become Hokage, after all. I hope you know that what I did was to protect you as well. I'm so tired of seeing people I love suffer, even you Sasuke, maybe you can find the peace you wanted from severing our bonds. Naruto thought to himself, curling up a little with his knees to his chest. All of these thoughts, pouring down consciousness like water under a bridge. It didn't matter anymore, nothing did, he wanted the cost of going back on every core belief he held. Some people, no matter how tragic the situation, were unredeemable. Nothing more than rabid dogs, foaming at the mouth. The blonde that day just so happened to be the euthanasia. Maria notes how the blonde just shut down on her. Sitting there curled up on the medical bed in the clinic. Whatever the kid had been through, it had been some seriously messed up life events. Scars, heavy calluses on his hands and feet. This child wasn't just some random street urchin, not a farm boy either. She looked into those cerulean blue eyes. Beneath the freight, anxiety, and confusing stood the look of someone who had seen the absolute worst of humanity. They called it back in her days as a huntress, the 1,000-yard stare, simply because someone lost in their thoughts would just stare out into nothingness. Detached emotionally, not mentally as some would think, but having all other emotions expended trying to reason with apathy. Kid, the old woman called his attention, are you okay? He tries to speak once more, but just settles with nodding his head. Pointing at his throat, he draws an X with his finger. Maria understood him, sitting next to him on the bed. The woman was short, probably due to her age, and those funky goggles added some creep factor. It was wrong of him think like that because she had helped him. Those fake little eyes blinked every so often, and he points toward them. Oh, good job Naruto, let's make the person who saved your bacon uncomfortable Databeo. He mentally chastised himself, but then watched her smile. Huh. Oh, this kiddo, these are my prosthetic eyes. Maria told him while moving them around a little, I lost my eyes in a fight a long time ago. Naruto frowns at that answer but grew angry with inability to communicate. He grunted while reaching his pen and notepaper. He started to write, turning the page over for her to see. Did you win? Ah, did I win? Kid, I may have lived, but I lost my eyes and had to retire. I was cut in my prime, Maria lamented before smiling. In way though, I guess it's a good thing. I can see the world much more clearly now, more than before. She walked over to the door, closing it. I have a feeling that you're not exactly lying to me. Naruto straightened up on the bed, looking on as she got a glass of water. She took some sips out of the glass, licking her lips to get them wet. Dry winter air obviously doing a number on her. Popping her back, she stretches to get her shoulders loosened up. Renard is a simple man, never experienced the weirdness of the world. I understand that life is not so cut and dry. The mere fact that you are surviving something that you should have died from 10 times over is the tip of the iceberg. That chest wound, near where your right lung would be, that wasn't recent. She spoke with calmness, alleviating Naruto a little who relaxed in the bed. Seeing no reason to lie, he simply nods, rubbing the scar. She looked at the door, making sure no one was near it, and leaned up to it. Making sure no one could enter. My old bud is getting tired, boy. You say you aren't from any of the lands we know, but maybe you're lying to me to protect someone. All I know is, just like with me, there's something unique to you that people hunted you for. She continued while still leaning up against the door, have I hit the head on the nail so far? Naruto bit his lip before once again nodding his head. The old woman sighed, walking over to the sink. Grabbing another glass. She made sure to have a DA scan over it to make sure it was clean. When it came back all clear, she then started to run cold tap water into the vessel. Tell me something, child, what will you do from here? She inquired while filling up another glass. If you are someone being hunted and no longer home, it wouldn't be wise to sit around in one place. Naruto looks down, sighing and nodding his head. Maria walked over to him, handing him another glass. She watches him drink it slowly this time, much slower than before. Stopping for a minute, setting the glass on his lap while still balancing it with his left hand. He stares at charts on the on-wall, his charts and photos of his x-rays that the doctor had printed out to show him. Broken would have been the polite way of describing the way he initially came in. The correct answer was that he should have died, even with the 9 tails, so what had saved him? Turns, Maria noted his confusion, placing a hand on his shoulder. She knew that look, that very same look was hers without the eyes nearly 20 years ago. You expected to die, but didn't, so now you don't know what to do with yourself. She empathized with him, seeing a small tear go down his eye. You're still here and has to be for a reason. Naruto nudged his head side to side, finishing his water. Maria frowned at him, sitting on his observation bed. The old woman made sure not to sit on his feet. The blonde looked at her, giving a small but sad riddled smile. He mouthed the words, thank you before handing the glass to her. She nods, sitting there before watching as Renard walked back in. Okay, well, once again I still couldn't get any type of transport for him. Knowing what he's been through and what he's claiming, it could be some adverse form of psychotic coping. I recommend he stay with me until I get him help. Renard suggested while looking at him. Naruto looks toward Maria, shaking his head. The old woman smiled and then looked toward the doctor. Sorry, Renard, but it seems like the boy is waiving any more medical treatment. It's his rights to do so, the old woman told him before getting up. Please be a dear and give this boy some chance at fresh air. I know it's his right to leave against medical advice, but I highly do not endorse this action. For all we know he could still have internal injuries that may pop up, the doctor argued before getting his scanner out. If you're leaving, please let just do one last scan on your. Naruto shrugs, standing apart in a T-pose stance so the doctor could get a full view. The scanner went over his stomach, showing no more true suspect injuries save internal bruising. His legs were almost fully healed, splotches of bruising in the tissue, but what concerned him the most was the kid's throat. It wasn't healing as well, which meant there was a chance that he could remain mute. Sighing, Renard tries one last time. I could get him surgery for his throat, but I doubt it would change much. It's up to him, Maria offered up before looking towards him. What's your answer? The blonde shinobi thinks for a minute, taking a deep breath before pointing with a thumbs down. Renard rolls his eyes and leaves to go sign the paperwork. Naruto's gown flapped around a little bit from the wind of the door shutting. The old woman looked at him, smiling before speaking. Ada, can you give me measurements? She commanded her AI assistant, the program running her prosthesis beginning to measure Naruto over. Thank you, dear. He was confused at who she was talking to, but then she pointed at her weird eye goggles. He nods, still bewildered before watching as Renard came in with the legal documentation. Naruto didn't much care for that, signing where he needed to sign to leave. Naruto was about to step out of the observation room when Maria put her hand up to stop him. He was bewildered for a moment and then she just chuckles at him. So, do you want the whole town to see your buttocks? She inquired, which made Naruto realize that he was still in a hospital gown. Renard sighs, looking at her. I can hold him for a half hour. That's all the time I need, you stay here now. I'll be back. She told the young teenager before exiting the room. Naruto watches as the door closes, then looking to Renard. He bowed his head in respect, walking over to a chair before sitting in it. Sighing, the man took a deep breath, sitting into the chair next to his. The older man took a cigarette out, lit it with a lighter, and then took a drag off it. Blowing the smoke away from the kid, he then looks at him. Listen to me and listen well. I've never seen someone with your injuries make it out alive. So, I'll trust old Maria on this one. Just, please don't get yourself into any trouble. Those nanites in your body should be finishing up, if not already. I also don't recommend eating solid foods for at least 2 days. Since you've been on painkillers, you might as well be crapping out bricks. The doctor explained to him before taking another drag off his cigarette. The blonde just stared off into space for a moment, thinking to himself. He got up, walking over to a table, and grabbed a pen with notepaper. He began to write down some words onto it, intending to get information about what surgery he would have been talking about. You said I had a surgical option earlier, what were the odds? Naruto wrote down, inquiring with curiosity. 30%, and that's with limit capability. The other percentage is total vocal loss with a stoma, and since you're a rare case that still has their airway intact, best not to bite the bullet, I suppose. Renard answered him before thinking to himself, you seem like an honest kid. Listen, I know some good therapists. If you choose to leave, perhaps you can get a scroll and call one of them for a meeting. Naruto looked confused, mouthing the word, therapist. Does this kid really not know what a therapist is? Thought Renard, who just stared at him blankly. You know, doctors who help with your mind. The boy's mouth contorted to an O expression before shaking his head. Pinching his nose while taking a drag, the doctor blew the smoke away from the child. Taking a deep breath, he simply patted the young teen's shoulder. Truly, either this kid was damaged, running, or was telling the truth. For some reason, somewhere in his heart, he knew it was truly the latter of this. Renard got up, taking steps toward the door. Maria should be back soon with clothing. Let me see if there's something I can't give you to at least help you out in some way. Naruto sat in the room alone as the man exited. Taking a deep breath, focusing, he found himself drifting. 9 tails. The dripping of water made him open his eyes. He was inside his mindscape. The pipelines representing his chakra network were somewhat still in disrepair, but slowly they were healing. His body was being healed first, it seemed, which meant that he was at a much diminished state at the moment. Walking along the wet flooring, seeing more pipes that were bent and broken. Red pipes were even broke, which was only relegated to the 9 tails chakra. Which meant that he was also in some ways injured somehow. Eventually he turns a corner, coming across the giant cage. The seal paper on the cage was partially ripped, the bars bent, no longer sturdy as before. He could sense something else here but couldn't pinpoint it. Yo furball. The giant fox stood still, barely opening one of its giant eyes. Let me rest, brat. Listen, Naruto implored him while walking closer. We're not in the elemental nations anymore. Hell, I don't even know how to explain it. We're not exactly Anu. We're not exactly on our world anymore. I know, just because I'm sealed in you doesn't mean I can't sense things. The 9 tails interjected, interrupting him. What do you want? Naruto sat down in front of the gate. I just want to know why you aren't healing my throat. Sometimes, brat, some things can't be healed if they don't exist anymore. When you threw up my raw chakra out of your mouth, it burned 80% of your vocal cords away. At best, you can grunt, maybe scream. The Nine Tails answered, which made Naruto look down. We weren't even supposed to have lived. Take a victory. Is there any way we can go home? The young shinobi inquired. No, this isn't me tricking you, we're genuinely stuck here. The Nine Tails answered truthfully, raising its head. I suppose it's poetic. What the hell do you mean poetic, furball? Naruto breathed while looking at him. I've lost everything. Yet, he raised his head up, we've been transported to a new world, a new beginning. What if I don't want a new beginning? What if I just want my friends back? The blonde said dejectedly before huddling into himself. I meant what I said before we did that little cinch-up thing, we both deserved better. For once the Nine Tails took a deep breath. Was that pity Naruto felt? The blonde watched as he took a moment before speaking. Sometimes, brat, life isn't fair. If you had been there, do you honestly believe that Haddock would have let them take you in trade? The moment they walked into that village, coming after you, he was a dead man walking. The cherry blossom girl, as much I found her annoying, would have died for you to accept that as a token of their love and move on. The Nine Tails advised him, only to watch Naruto launch himself up. He screams at him, hot tears spilling from his eyes. What the fuck do you know about love? You hated me since day one. I don't give a damn about us working together and bonding over anger. You keep my friends' names out of your damn mouth. Naruto raged while looking right at him, sobbing a little bit at each word. Brat. You are going to sit there and tell me, surviving the impossible, there's no way for me to honor them. There's no way for me to lay them to rest, there's no way for me go back home. Did you know that this would happen? Naruto questioned accusingly, pointing a finger at the giant kitsune. No, I didn't know, you spoiled brat. Your absolute little shit stain of a miserable life is nothing but a fleeting minute of my own. Forgive me if I don't sound sympathetic, but I too have lost people that I cared for. You humans, touting that we-tailed beast can never understand love, the gall. Do you want to know why I can't bring us back? It's because I'm not strong enough. The Nine Tails screamed out before roaring at Naruto, blasting toward the entrance of the room. The gates rattled but stayed intact surprisingly. Naruto stood up, breathing hard. What do you mean you're not strong enough? My tailed beast bomb only worked because of the statue already containing 4 other tailed beasts. When it detonated their chakra with my own. The statue itself was a power conduit, multiplying their power already, so imagine what it did when we blew it up. It tore space and time asunder. It ripped a little new hole in the fabric. Essentially, we created a black hole. The Nine Tails screamed out, answering the blonde's question with rage pouring from him. What the hell is a black hole? The teen screamed out, confused at what he was saying. Let me put it in layman's terms, we tore the fabric of the universe, a very temporary new asshole. The giant fox shouted at him, of all my vessels, you are by far the bravest but the dumbest. Groaning in frustration, Naruto threw his hands exasperated before laying on the water-covered floor. He just stared up at space for a minute, looking at the pipes, noting that his chakra network may have come back online prior to falling out of that space, yet he still didn't feel it 100%. Seeing all of the damage inside of him more or less confirmed it. Nine Tails, Naruto called out before turning to him. I'm sorry, I'm in pain, feeling hopeless, that everything you worked for didn't matter. Yeah, pretty much all of that, he admitted before biting his lip. About that love part, how do you know about it? Even I had a creator once, his name was Hagoromo Otsutsuki. He was the sage of 6 paths. You see, brat, long before the time shinobi. There was a time before humans could use chakra you had inside of you, but you couldn't wield it. It was during this time that all tailed beasts were merged into one, the 10 tails. You probably don't care to hear more, the giant fox waved while looking off to the side. Question. Kurama told Naruto before taking a deep breath and turning back, yes. Technically, wouldn't it be the 45 tails? Naruto questioned. Kurama looks at him, then thought about his answer. You think that adding all the tails of each beast together would make it have 45 tails? Well duh, that's just basic math furball. Oh, my creator, of all the people, Otsutsuki gods damn you for being this stupid. The Nine Tails bemoaned before sighing, can't blame anyone other than myself, after all I asked for a dumber vessel, and I was granted one a little too much. Well, I'm not the one throwing out made-up things, like black holes. Naruto pointed matter-of-factly, only for the Nine Tails to scream at him. They're not made-up things. The pregnant pause emanated between the two, with the Nine Tails regaining his composure before focusing. I'm sorry, that was rude of me, you can continue the story, I want to hear it. I'm just saying if you're adding all the tailed beasts together. Naruto stopped before sighing, never mind, it was stupid. I should be mad at you, brat, for that comment. However, if it wasn't for the fact that you are so stubbornly ignorant, I'd think you'd intentionally insult me. Anyway, we were once all merged into one giant monster known as the 10 tails. Kurama got back to where he left off, taking a deep breath. He then tells his tale, maintaining eye contact with Naruto. Slowly, the room shifted to a wide open landscape and in the distance, Naruto saw a giant monster with one eye that looked eerily familiar to the Sharingan. The Nine Tails noticed it as well, smirking. You're not too far off, the Sharingan is indeed a placeholder in humans for that thing's bloodline. One god came from the heavens to save humanity from this monster. He stood tall in face of sheer destruction incarnate. Because as one, we had no personality of our own, no free will. We served only the whims of destruction. Humanity's darkest emotions collated and mixed together. The results of slaughter, rage, genocide, and hatred. The world only gives back what you put into it, and humans put in all of their hate, thusly a being of true hatred was born. The Nine Tails explained while the image showed the beast sweeping countries aside. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw one country, with floating cities, suddenly brought down onto the world like falling meteorites. Another, a country in the middle of the ocean, swept by giant tidal waves the size of mountains. Was this a time before even shinobi truly? For once, you humans tried to fight together, but it never mattered. One day, you collectively cried out for a savior. My creator, Hagoromo Otsutsuki, answered that call. He descended from the moon, stopping the beast from its latest attacks. If hadn't, surely humanity would have gone extinct. The images switched to what the giant fox said, showing Naruto the falling star from the moon. A single man stood, bright red hair, wielding a staff. A white robe flowed over him, and there he stood tall against the beast upon a hillside. A bright flash of light filled the room as the beast found itself locked around chains of chakra coming from the ground itself. Naruto watched as the god absorbed the giant monster, a seal pattern forming across his body. Wait a minute, the young teen realized while looking at him. Doesn't that mean he'd be the first Jinchuriki? Okay, now you're catching on. The Nine Tails complimented, which felt awkward for him to do so. Yes, that would mean that he would be the very first Jinchuriki. Cool, Naruto breathed while walking around him. What are those horns on his head? Why do you have whisker marks? The tailed beast questioned in return. Naruto bit his cheek on that, crossing his arms childishly. Good point, furball. He grew old, having been a mortal god, and with his life nearing its end, he formed us the tailed beast. Each and every one of us held a piece of the 10 tails soul. With its power being cut down multiples between each beast. As the 9 tails, I have the most percentage, and yes, to an extent it's little bit of rage. The kitsune stated while looking at Naruto, showing him images of the younger tailed beasts to gauge their reactions. He expected questions, he expected confusion, even jokes. Instead, he saw the blonde standing in the center, looking at every one of his siblings' younger forms. The 9-tailed fox forgot to stop the image, showing him and his siblings crying over their creator's speech to them. His back was turned to the 9-tailed fox. What is it, brat? No jokes. Naruto turns back around, showing tears flowing down his eyes. Especially as he got a look at a certain young kitsune who was sobbing as his creator faded away. Screaming even, and then it hit the giant fox as the blonde reached out to his younger self. His hand passes through the hologram and he just stood there looking up at him. I'm sorry, Naruto bowed and kowtowed in front of him. The 9-tails' eyes widened tremendously at the earnest in the apology. Never has this energetic, brash, knuckle-headed buffoon bowed before anyone. So, flabbergasted was he that he failed to notice that the landscape changed to show a slightly older version, the 9-tails once again. He was standing tall as a 2-story house, with a brown-haired man standing next to him. That same man bared a striking resemblance to one of the children of his creator. Ashura. Naruto stood up at the name, looking around. What? Who is Ashura? The images stopped, with the 9-tails growling, nobody, we're done here for now. Wow, hold on, I thought we were bonding here, Dadabeo. What did I do? I'm sorry that I said something out of turn earlier, I just never thought that we could have loved ones, foolish brat, you suffer the loss of a few, we suffer seeing entire cultures fall. Good men, women, and children slaughtered all because you corrupted the gifts bestowed to you. The 9-tailed fox growls and interrupted him. There can never be understanding between the guardians of a world and its filthy parasites. So I'm a parasite. Naruto stood there rubbing his arm. I don't think I'm a parasite, but if we're done here, I'll be going. Wait, Naruto stopped walking as he lowered his head. If you ever need my power, you need to accept the fact that you're no better than me. Perhaps we're not so different after all, but I think I'm going to choose to keep moving forward. Maybe one day, hopefully soon, I can do something about that hatred inside you. Naruto replied before giving a sad smile and disappearing out of the area. The giant kitsune sat there, feeling Naruto leave the subconscious world. He reformed the image of standing next to the one he called Ashura, looking at it through the cage. Placing his head against the bars, tears welling in his eyes. Why did they turn against us all those years ago, Ashura? Naruto opens his eyes, having laid his head down. Slowly, he got up, looking over at a pile of clothes next to him in a chair. There were 3 sets of pants, shirts, underwear, and even a backpack with a coat. He reached down, picking up one of the long-sleeved shirts. It held a pattern with trees on the back of it, and on the front of it was some type of musician group screaming into a standing device. Weird, he thinks to himself before looking at the pure orange one. That's more like it. He takes the gown off, getting the shirt on. Discovering that it was a size too big for him, slightly baggy. It didn't matter, so he got some boxers on and then chose the black cargo pants with red stripe along the pants legging. Bouncing on one foot to stretch his legs and interchanging, he saw that there were some boots laying under a chair with orange socks. Quickly putting them on, the blonde took the rest of the clothing and packed it. Looking over the seat next to where he had been sitting, a book laid there. A Basic Guide to Sign Language for the Impaired by Dr. Bartholomew Ooblik. Looking at himself in the mirror, the blonde felt like a person again. His stomach growls a little bit, making him groan from hunger. Walking toward the door, he opened it to see Maria sitting in a seat asleep. Naruto walked over to her, tapping on her shoulder. She woke up, her eyes turning on, and looked him up and down. "Like them?" she inquired while watching rub the back of his head. He gave her a thumbs up, tucking the book under his arm. She nods and gets up. They both wave at Renard as they exit the building. His stomach audibly growling, drawing her attention. The old woman chuckled, pulling a device out that she pulled apart to reveal a screen. On it was a money, with several zeros behind a number. She noted that he was staring, turning to him. She laughs, "It's rude to stare over someone's shoulder, boy." He nods, trying to say sorry but failing, so he turned to the book, pulling it out from under his arm. The blonde found what he was looking for, contorting his fingers to make the hand sign for apologizing. The old reaper nods her head, surprising by doing the response hand sign. "Sign language is hard to get down, kiddo, but you'll manage. The next question I have to ask you, are you hungry?" Broken moon, the beginning is always today, Mary Shelley. She regretted those words, of course the kid was hungry. Watching him down a whole chicken was surprising, too was shocking, but now as he got ready to eat a whole chicken pot pie, the older woman found herself worried. Having a decent amount in the bank was great and all, but he was eating his way toward a couple hundred lean dinner bill. Could she blame him? Not exactly, poor thing must have been starved for days. His eyes, general appearance and mood began going on the up and up as he ate. She tried to recommend liquid food, but the blonde had been starving. Finishing the pot pie within minutes, letting out a burp that made the whole crowd look at them. She rolls her eyes, watching make the sign for apology. "Yeah, I bet you are. Heh, so kid, what are you going to do after this?" He shrugs and then thought about it, reading into his book. He found the word he was looking for, walk, and made the gesture for it. Maria pursed her lips and then smiled while seeing him rubbing his stomach. It was slightly bulged out from all the food, a groan escaping him. The liquid diet advice she tried to give him wasn't because he was sick. In a few hours he'd experienced the living hell that was pain medication-related constipation. However, until then Maria asks him a simple question, "Would you walk with me?" The blonde thought about it, pensively staring at himself in a glass. Maria watches him becoming conflicted. "You don't owe me anything, doing the right thing just makes common sense." She comforted him, placing a hand on top of his. His fingers were warm, much like his palm. "You can choose to go your own way if you want." Naruto shook his head, smiling before pointing at her. He gestured for walking, then flipped over a page for the gesture that read "just for a little while" and did the gesture. The old woman nods in response, letting go of his hand before seeing the check come in. Well, we're walking, you're carrying my pack, that's how you can pay me back for the bill," she declared before watching nod. Chapter 3. Act 1. Shinobi. Snow fell around both of them as they trekked through the forest of dead wood. Naruto was carrying 2 packs, his own and Maria's. The blonde shinobi shuffled behind the woman in the tobacco dress. Winds broke through the tree lining, making them both shiver a little bit. They had left Higanbana 5 days ago and found themselves heading north. "Are you doing okay back there, kid?" Maria inquired while walking over a snow patch. "I know that pack can be heavy sometimes." Naruto stuck his right thumb up, indicating he was okay. He began to contort his fingers into a series of different positions, communicating with her. "I'm doing okay, just tired." He signed while dragging his feet a little in the snow. His body still ached, some of the internal bruising still remained. His chakra kept him moderately warm, pushing any water particulates off his body to keep him dry. Maria hummed a lively tune while they walked. She looked behind again, noting that he was keeping pace like always. Over the last 2 days since leaving the town of Higanbana, that shinobi learned a lot of things. Technology, for example, played so many roles than his world could ever imagine. These things, that they call scrolls, were like miniature everythings really. He saw people use them to make calls, somehow, and then turn around to use them as guides. Then the greatest thing he had ever seen drove past them that day, a car, something his people only thought of as fiction. For the past 2 nights, whenever they camped, Maria would let him look at her scroll. News articles, most importantly however, the blonde learned about where exactly he was. Mistral, on the continent of Anima. He had looked up general information about it and everything readily available. It was topsy-turvy compared to his world. Where one couldn't get a hold of a village's information without prying, it was all here at the touch of a fingertip. City names, manufacturing jobs, important people, locations of their own academies, even their best fighters. All here, literally a touch away, and he could read about them. These huntsmen and huntresses, the creatures fought, grim. He learned about them, having seen a pair of red eyes one night after taking a leak. They didn't come after him, staying away, observing. Maria, who has traveled the world almost, called this stalking behavior. It meant that sooner or later, one of these creatures was going to get brave. Stopping when the old woman did, she saw that their path was blocked by a river ahead. Sighing, the woman turns to him, "It looks like our pathway is blocked." She bemoaned while looking up the riverbank. Naruto took a moment to step over toward it, cupping his hands in the water as he knelt down. He suckled on the cold nectar of life, feeling it wash down his still burned throat. In that moment, since she had been so kind to him, the blonde shinobi faced toward her and walked. She was confused, even more so when he knelt down with his back turned to her. "What are you trying to do, boy? You're going to re-injure yourself." She chastised him but relented when he remained. She climbed up on his back, using the packs to maintain her grip. "Alright, fine, I'm up here. Now, what do we do, Abua?" He took off in a dash, she about to scream when something gripped her to him. The energy ripping through her core, which made her eyes widen at the warmness of it. It was as if she stood close to the sun, but not close enough to burn, warm enough to not feel fear. When he reached the edge, the grip around her old legs tightened. The blonde leapt, flying through the air before clearing the 11-meter gap. Landing on the other side and sliding on some, they both jerked to a stop. Naruto stood straight up before kneeling down to let her off his back. The woman gets off his back, breathing hard before looking at him. Kid, did you just leap across the damn river?" Maria shouted, flabbergasted, looking at where they used to be. "That's nearly 35 feet, better than any long jumper I've seen." Naruto rubs the back of his head, smiling bashfully. He then began to sign, "I told you, I'm not like you." "No shit," Maria commented before looking at him. "Can everyone where you come do that?" He thought about it, shaking his head and signing, "Only people like me." "Huh, you mean you're some type of huntsman?" she inquired while walking next to him, continuing their hike up from the riverbank and into the woods. He shakes his head, forming a hand seal, "Shinobi." "So, I've been meaning to ask you. How did you end up in this world? Obviously it didn't look like it was by choice." Maria said while watching the tree line, "I saw the bodies." Naruto frowns at this, sighing and then looking away. She took the hint, continuing to walk with him. Whatever messed up things that had happened to him, she was sure he'd tell her when the time came. That's when she reaches into her pocket, pulling out her scroll. "Want some music, kid?" she asked while scrolling through her scrolls playlist. "What's your poison?" The blonde thought about it, turning to walk backwards, scratching his chin. The 13-year-old continued thinking before shrugging. Maria sighed, turning to a band called Gypsy Kings in her playlist. Slowly, the strumming of guitar strings filled the air. Drums followed the guitar, creating a symphonic string of music. The old woman couldn't help herself as she swung her hips while walking. Naruto turned back around but then looked over his shoulders, watching her snap her fingers to the music. It brought a small smile to his face, but then he immediately felt guilty. He thought of the people back home. Sighing, he just focuses on the road ahead. He closes his eyes, thinking to himself. "Naruto." The blonde shinobi was sitting up in a tree, looking down. "What's up, Sakura? Lady Tsunade has a mission for us." She yelled out while standing there with her arms crossed. "What are you doing up there?" "Listening to the birds make music." "Again, do you even know what type of birds they are?" she inquired before hopping up to the same branch he was on. "They're swallows, since it's near winter they'll be gone." Naruto answered her before watching her sit down. "How important is the mission?" "C rank, just some basic escorting." "Ah, back to the basics," he mused while looking up into the tree. "Sakura, I have question for you." "Yeah, go on, shoot." "Do you think Sasuke is going to come back to us?" he inquired while watching the smallest chick in the nest getting left behind by its siblings. "I just hope he's okay, you know." "I'm sure he is Sasuke after all. You're still not feeling guilty because we've talked about this. It's not your fault and I don't blame you." She reassured him before walking over to sit next to him on the tree. "I trust that together we'll get Sasuke back home." Taking a deep breath, Naruto watches as the lone chick takes flight. "I hope you're right." "Of course, I'm right, when haven't I been right?" "The FFT, don't even get me started, for starters you think Dango is better than Raymond." "That very answer is all kinds of wrong," Naruto replied before feeling something on his hand. He looked down to see it was Sakura's. Sakura, what are you doing?" "How about you just shut up and enjoy the stupid birds?" Sure Sakura, let's watch them together. The blonde looked up to see familiar-looking birds flying over him. They dodged in and out odd trees, 3 of them. They're calling to each other, their birdsong was beautiful. He closes his eyes, taking it in only to feel a pang ring out through his heart. He wished that she was here with him, the last straw was remembering her smile. That smile, beautiful and innocent, with the warmth of spring that bloomed her namesake. His lip quivered, chest tightened, and finally the dam broke. A quiet sob at first escaped him, making him stumble. Maria took notice of this, walking up to him. She heard the telltales of someone crying under their breath. The young teenager slowly let go, feeling the water gather in his eyes. Breathing harder and harder, he stumbled more. Until finally he stops walking, standing there biting his lip to keep from openly sobbing. He had not a damn thing to remember them by, not even a picture. Slowly, it dawned on him that this was it, this was going to be his life now. No more Jiraiya. No more Shinobi. No chance at becoming Hokage. No going to Kakashi's and Sakura's gravestone. He was in this world. Naruto felt hot tears fall from his eyes before feeling something warm on his shoulder. He turned to Maria, who was looking at him, music still playing. "Hey, kid, are you okay?" she asked while seeing him cry. The blonde scrunched his face up before it all hit him. He walked toward a nearby tree, dropping the gear before openly sobbing. The old woman walks over to him, sitting next to him. Not knowing what else to do, since he hadn't told her, she just sits by him under the dead tree. Perhaps all the events that had happened to him were finally rushing in now that he had a moment to think about them. Sara Naruto sobbed brokenly before clutching his chest, shy. She pieces it together, "You've lost people to them, haven't you?" He weakly nodded his head. Leaning it back till it was on the tree. Slowly, she took his hand into hers, clutching it tightly. "I won't let you suffer this alone, child," she softly said to comfort him, "because I knew I wouldn't want to be alone during this." Getting a hold of her hand, he clutches it before sobbing openly. Fresh hot tears poured down his face, she was there with him throughout it all. Gods know what those bastards did to this kid, especially since he seemed strong, unnaturally strong for his age. Those stories he wrote about other places nowhere on Remnant might just be true after all, she supposed. Then, as if to add on to this plethora of pain, she heard howling. The blonde heard it too, getting up from tree. They both watched as 8 large bipedal wolf demons clambered out of the brush toward them. Naruto was about to go to form a hand seal, but instead found himself kicked away by Maria. He was about to try and scream for the woman when Herkin suddenly sported a blade. One of the wolf demons closes the distance only for that blade to be slung upward. It glided right into the beast's jaw where Maria rips it out. Her body had teal energy covering as she picked up speed on a twist and slashes the beast in half. The other wolves stopped in their tracks, growling and encircling her. Naruto watches as the bisected beast disintegrates into ash. These were the grim he read and heard from Maria about. She stood up, twirling her weapon about. Only now did he realize that the design of it was like the mini side. She laughs while preparing herself, holding the blade out, the other beasts growling and snapping at her. "Boy, get up and run, I can handle this," she commanded him, attempting to protect them. She knew better though, with her old age, she'd be lucky to hold her own against 3 of these things. They must have sensed the boy's negative emotions earlier, which is why they are scampering in for a quick meal. Instead of running, she watches the blonde stand up, slamming his right hand into his left open palm. 2 new demonic creatures joined in, larger wolves, with bony armor around them. Alphas? Alphas were grim that had lived more than a few decades. Gaining bony armor that was bullet resistant, the only real way to take them down was close quarters combat or a large caliber gun. Was this it, was it her time, at long last? Did Maria the Grim Reaper finally find her match? Her thoughts were interrupted when the young teen beside her charges forward. "Kid, wait, what the hell are yo?" Her screaming was interrupted when several plumes of smoke erupted around the kid. Now not just one of them, 24 of the kid charged forward. A massive clone slammed into the first 7 beasts, knocking them back via tackling and kicking. One of his clones gasped as one of the beasts tore its head off before disappearing into smoke. Meanwhile 2 of them managed to pin one down and break its neck. The 2 alphas slowly approach them, Maria having no choice reaches into her boot. "Kid," she screamed while throwing a knife toward him, "catch." Naruto caught the knife mid-flight, taking it out of its sheath. He poured chakra into it as the first demonic alpha charges. He flips backwards to avoid its first claw slash, the second one getting counter when he brought the knife up to block it. Maria saw more of the clones defeating 2 more of the beasts. She ran right toward the other alpha, dodging slashes and slashing with her kama. She used her semblance to sidestep it to the left, hooking her kama on its shoulder. She spun on the handle once to deliver a kick but grunted when her leg became sore from it. Her advanced meant that even her aura-charged kicks weren't much to write home about. She saw the blonde in peripheral vision using her knife to block and slash at the demon fighting him. He dodged by backstepping, then delivering a chakra-enhanced stab into the beast's breastplate. It shatters the knife to pieces. His eyes widened as the beast's claws cut through his jacket, causing some slashes in his chest from the claws. He backflipped away as his wounds started to heal. Damn it, I can't do this fight right now, I'm still not at even halfway to have my chakra reserves back. He thought to himself while rolling as it launched itself at him, using his superior reflexes and speed to keep a step ahead. These guys move fast, but the other ones, without that bone armor, are much slower. So these are grim. The alpha fighting Naruto slashes at him and then followed up with a bite. Each time, the blonde managed to use his forearm to deflect the blows by impacting the claw's wrist. The bite however caught him by surprise. He barely to lean his neck back, only feeling the beast tear the strings from his jacket. Maria wasn't faring any better. Each of her strikes deflected of the beast's armor plating. Only her semblance kept her from being caught a strike. Today was a horrible day, she was getting a stark reminder of her inability to fight on the same level she had been able to. Some whippersnappers out there were probably flowing around a battlefield with a large scythe, making a mockery of her performance. The kama in her hand sparked as it glided over the beast's underside. Not even penetrating it, just ended up screeching against the bone armor. She rolled forward to another strike, bringing her kama up in time to block the next one. Spinning her kama in her hand to give it momentum, she gave a worn battle while matching the beast's slash per slash. Sparks flew, bone more chipped, T-Laura blocking fatal cuts. Naruto himself was not having such a great time of it, watching as his clones pinned down the remaining 4. They were still fighting, and he didn't want to form another batch, just in case he needed the chakra. His chakra system was still heavily damaged, despite his physical body almost being healed. Dodging to the right, he then followed with a chakra-enhanced straight punch from his left hand. It sent the beast sliding backwards, making him breathe hard. Licking his lips, the blonde momentarily turned to see Maria's progress. His eyes widened as he found her in retreat. He attempted to run toward her, only for the alpha to intercept him and get a lucky slash across his side. His eyes widened as fresh itcher sprayed the snow. His wounds bleeding, hissing as they attempted to close. He watches Maria push her opponent away, feeling some of his clones kill another beast. She runs at him while his own alpha charged, "Kid." She screamed, only to get knocked to the ground. Naruto's eyes widened as he kicked the beast attacking him back. Jumping into the tree, only for it use its claws to climb up and follow him. He jumps back onto the ground, attempting to get over to her. The alpha from before launches itself down at him, pinning him to the ground. Naruto watches as she falls to the ground, gaining momentum with her kama to slash the alpha's leg off. It turns around, pinning her on the ground before sinking its teeth into her shoulder. Her T-Laura barely hanging on. She saw where the blonde was struggling with the first one. She watches as Naruto kept its maw from closing around his neck. Kicking it off and rolling backwards, Naruto forms another clone next to him. Holding his right hand out, the clones began to mold visible chakra into his hand. The ball, yellow in color, spiraled with a screeching noise. The Maria, using ADA, she couldn't tell what color it was. The energy ball screeches in his hand as ducked under a slash from the beast. Dodging to the right, he then jammed the beast in the side with energy ball. She watched beast screech in pain, slashing his arm open before he aimed it toward the crowd of remaining beals. The ball suddenly exploded, releasing the beast and jetting it off into a spiral of flailing limbs. It impacted the other wolves, breaking one of them in half from the force. Her own alpha was still digging into her shoulder, trying to break her aura. Naruto got up, running toward her full force. Her attacker was about break through her aura when he suddenly appeared above it, kicking it hard in the face and sending it flying into a tree. She watches as he picked up her kama, launching himself into the air while gripping it with both hands. He spun around, adding momentum before slicing diagonally downward. The beast's upper body fell to the side, followed by a tree behind it. Red itcher flowed from the teen's wound on his arm. Staining the shirt she bought for him, its fabric ripped open where it had caught him. The other 2 remaining beals got up, growling at him. He stood up straight as the hissing of his wounds doubled. Spinning the kama in his hands, giving it momentum, he then charges at them. Like a machine, he spun around, cutting them to pieces before appearing on the opposite side of their charge. A broken, victorious scream rends the air, more animal than human. He fell to one knee, breathing hard as his various wounds began closing fully. His body stained by old itcher. He got up before coughing onto the ground. Some blood escaping his mouth from his throat. "What are you, boy?" she asked, her voice shuddering while looking right at him, fear lacing her voice. She had seen many children his age practice in combat classes. This kid however didn't need to practice, he just almost single-handedly took down 2 alphas. His other clones from earlier, which bothered her, because that meant that he had more than one semblance. Super strength, speed, and reflexes. This kid had been trained for battle, and she witnessed it. Naruto looks at her before biting his lip and stares away. She thought about running, the malice rolling off him earlier was potent. Vicious as he was in the fight and those hard blue eyes having lost the warmth in them, he had saved her. Breathing hard, the blonde closes his eyes before signing to her, "I'm sorry." Maria felt sorry for him, but most of all she felt disappointed in herself. The boy was getting ready to leave, he walked her comma over to her, placing it in her hands. However, before he could get away, she reaches out and grabs him. The blonde looked at her in surprise, shocked even. "Now wait a damn minute, boy, I asked what you were. I'm not telling you to go off and leave, besides I'm poor old woman in the woods." She told him before getting a small smile on her lips, "You pretty much saved my bacon out here today." Biting his lip, Naruto held up the arm that had its sleeve ripped open, along with the open cuts on his chest. His wounds had fully healed again, "Sorry," he said brokenly. "Don't apologize, clothing is replaceable." "Now, who the hell trained you, kid?" "This place, Konoha, do they train all kids like you?" she inquired, watching as he rubbed his head nervously. "Don't be scared, kid, I'm not going to hurt you after this. Hell, I think I couldn't even if I tried." Naruto thought about, remembering the book, and began to spell out the term using sign language. She has ADA translate for her, watching him contort his fingers. SHINOBI, shinobi. Her aid device stated while taking pictures of each use, forming the word, and saving it for later. Much like it had done earlier with other times he used sign language. She repeated the word, shinobi shinobi wait. Are you saying shinobi, like as in ninjas? Naruto's face lit up. Did they actually have ninjas in this world? If so, that meant they could bring him into the fold, at least he'd be amongst familiar fellows if anything. However, judging by Maria's surprise, she only had bad news for him. "Kid, ninjas aren't real, at least in this world. We only have people who use the term and they're mostly criminals." Maria explained to him, but he repeated the argument. "Okay, if you're a ninja, transform into me." She then challenged him. Naruto stood there, then weaved one hand seal and got surrounded by a puff of smoke. Maria watches as he, now she, walks out of the smoke. Same kind of dress, same kind of hair, but no ADA prothesis. Her eyes remained blank, which scared her slightly until he transforms back into the blonde. The old woman thought she had seen everything and the only thing she could do was chuckle. Either this kid was real or she forgot her meds a long time ago. He hobbled back over to the bags, picking them, smiling a little bit before taking a deep breath. He drops the bags, running over to her before hugging her. This surprised her, when he pulled away, he was slightly blushing. She admitted though, the hug was very warm and once again that brightness filled his eyes. It was like she saw the warrior the kid was, this shinobi, and then when all sense of battle left him he went back to this kid. She sighs and walked over to him, "So did Konoha train you like this?" "I learned from many," he signed before looking toward the road ahead. "Mistral City." "Oh Naruto," she called him by his name, "did those people I found come for your world as well?" He turns to her, nodding before grabbing both of their packs, strapping them on. She sighs and then smiled. Truly, how weird can this world get? Perhaps he needs a mission, a purpose, but until then he's just a kid who's suffering. One of these days, he'll open up. She thought to herself, shinobi if he's from another world, maybe that's their version of huntsman. Still that doesn't explain why they specifically targeted him. Also, when he was fighting those beetles, he didn't have any aura blocking the damage. Perhaps he hasn't unlocked it yet, maybe she lingered there in her thoughts, walking next to him. "Kid," he turned to her, "do your people have what I have?" He leaned his head to the side in confusion, she then showed him the glowing energy around her skin. The blonde thought for a moment, then shook his head. This surprises her, since all living things had aura, no matter how big or small. It was just a matter of unlocking it for use. She'd have to teach him, and maybe he could do it. Only time could tell, despite him obviously being stronger than her, he lacked experience in this world. She was curious about his though, "Naruto, I have a proposal for you." He eyed her curiously, signing, "Yes. You tell me about your world and I'll train you in my ways." She told him while both continued down the path, coming to an actual road finally, "You don't have to tell me anything personal, just know that if you ever want to talk about it, I'm here for you." The blonde sniffs a little bit, wiping an errant tear out his eye. He contorts his fingers, gesturing for 2 words. "Thank you." Broken moon. Friends are those rare people who ask how we are and then wait to hear the answer. E.D. Cunningham. Naruto stares at the glistening lights, the tall skyscrapers on the mountain's walls. This was Mistral City, the city of lights, his mouth hung agape as they walked the markets. Vehicles drove by them and aircraft flew in the air. The blonde saw several other teens playing with a ball, kicking it into a net. Maria was walking closer to him, 2 days since the beeld's attack, found himself still regaining his strength. She watches him stare around in amazement, even turning to walk backwards to look at the tall wall with spotlights. This place was the definition of humongous, 3 times as big as Konoha, and the walls were nearly as tall as some of those giant buildings. Music blasted on the street, some vibrant music, not like the one they listened to on Maria's scroll. This one was much more synthetic, his teenage spirit gravitated toward it. These new experiences, but inside the guilt kept creeping up. If he had been to Kakashi's house on time that night he'd never be here. Sakura and he would probably still be alive. Maria took a glance at him, seeing the light fade from his eyes again. Guilt eating him alive it seemed, she sighs. Nudging him with her shoulder, it made him stare at him. The old woman began to do some weird dance move to the music coming from the markets. He slightly chuckles, then followed her movement just a little bit. Here's a lesson for you, kid. Cities are havens of music and most people your age dance to it. You might be a trained warrior, but you're still a teenager. I can sense it from you, you want to engage. Maria stated while stepping to the beat before spinning around once on her feet, don't be like my uncle Bruno. Boo. Naruto signed in confusion and then watched as the old woman chuckles. Oh, yeah, I forgot I'm not supposed to talk about him. She joked, watching as a small smile formed on his lips. Slowly he stepped to the music with her, finding himself swaying his shoulders to it just a little bit. The two stopped when they came across someone getting chased. A young boy with light blue hair getting ran after by 3 other teens. He slid to a near stop, nearly running into Naruto. Instead of stopping fully, he hops over him by somersaulting. Move it, you shithead. An older teen shouted before reaching for a weapon in his waistband. Naruto intercepted him, grabbing his wrist to hold the weapon down before clotheslining him to the ground. The girl chasing the brunette with the older teen curses, what the fuck you stupid idiot. She tries to punch him, only for him easily dodge by leaning his head to side, catching her arm under his joint. Jerking upward, a loud pop emanated from her arm, making her squeal in pain. The older teen gave up on the weapon, opting to try and punch Naruto. Instead, that brunette ran up and decked the teen hard in the nose. Yo, no time to explain, just come with me. The teen told Naruto and Maria, dashing away, come on. Naruto looked at Maria, allowing her to climb on his back before dashing the street. Keeping pace with the other teen boy. His yellow eyes glistened in the darkness and much like Renard back in Higanbana, he had animal trait. His was being the wolf-like ears on his head. Maria saw the 2 teens from before, no sooner they got up, they were tackled to the ground by police. Yo. Naruto's eyes snapped to his front. Had been looking where she had been, launching himself up to avoid a truck that he almost ran out in front of. Her eyes widened when she felt the energy anchor her down again. The teen running under them was looking up, sliding over a car, seeing the blonde practically fly. Landing on the building's wall, sliding down a little before getting grip with his charka, Naruto took off dashing. He followed the teen, Maria holding on for dear life as they fell back to the ground. He landed on both feet, dashing into an alleyway with a brunette. The teen ran over to a young girl, getting out a few pieces of fruit and handing her some. The younger girl, with darker blue hair and the same wolf ears, bit into the apple. There you go, Sapphire, big bro always got you. The brunette comforted her before looking toward the blonde, yo, blondie, you really saved my ass back there. Maria spoke while getting off Naruto, so, what kid, you stole from them or something? Kind of, but my sis has been hungry and since I'm not old enough to hold down a real job unless it's a gang. The boy admitted before sighing, you aren't going to report me, I mean it's just fruit. The old woman sighs while looking toward Naruto, who was reaching into his bag. He got out a bag of peanuts, tossing them over to the brother and sister. The brother caught it, looking surprised, seeing the blonde smile brightly. Maria took notice of this, for some reason, she knew that the blonde was showing more than just mere sympathy. The brunette smiles, handing the peanuts to his sister, thanks my name is Lapis. My name is Sapphire, the girl chimed in before biting into the apple again. Thank you for helping my big dum-dum of a brother. Hey, I'm not a dum-dum, you've just been complaining about being hungry. You two are a big dum-dum, if wasn't for them you'd been hurt. I can't let lose you know. Naruto watches them argue, biting his lip a little bit. His warm smile fell upon the two, Maria watches as he walked up to them. Lapis, who stopped talking to his sister watches Naruto held out his fist. The brunette turned to him, tentatively reaching up and bumping his fist against the blonde's. He took note of that warm smile, those cerulean blue eyes full of fire. So, where are you two staying tonight? Maria inquired, sighing as she began to check her account, since I know it'll be raining. Oh we're good, we stay underground, near the cisterns. Lapis waved her off and then looked toward his fellow teen, what's the matter with you, cat got your tongue? Naruto shook his head, crossing an X on his throat. Oh well shy ouch. Lapis yelped when looking down at his sister, her arms crossed and her lip pouting, come on Sapphire, that wasn't called for. No cussing at our friends. Naruto blinked once, then watches as she turned to him, smiling before signing much to his surprise. Sorry about my dummy brother, friend. He stood there, stunned as she continued signing, I learned sign language before my mother died of throat cancer. The blonde frowns at that, signing in reply, I'm sorry. Don't be, you couldn't have known. You seem new at this. Your movements aren't sure. She said to him in sign language and then looked at Maria, grandmother. Maria notes the sign language, laughing internally before Naruto smiles and nods his head. The old woman's internal laughter stopped before he turned to her, giving her a bright smile. There it was, inside of those eyes of his, when they were warm. That one little speck of deep sadness, the yearning of wanting to belong. The woman smiles before placing a hand on his shoulder, he isn't mine by blood. Kind of fell into my lap about 2 weeks ago. Kind of like you guys, come on with me, let's go beat the rain. Oh, thank you, my name is Lapis Lazuli, he greeted the old woman. What's your name? My name is Maria Calavera. Chapter 4. Act 1. Friend. What could Naruto say, even back in his world, showers were amazing. This shower he was taking, after weeks of being filthy, felt heavenly. The water cascaded down around him, hot rain, on his skin. Dirt, grime, and dried sweat washes off him. He leans his head up into the water, letting trail over him. After finishing using the bar soap provided by the hotel, he washes it off. Placing it back in the soap holder, Naruto exited the shower. Getting his freshly cleaned clothes out of the sink since he didn't want to place them on the floor. He puts them on, black shirt over red pants, orange socks. He exited the bathroom into a shared room. Maria was already asleep on the bed, with Lapis and Sapphire curled up together on other. Naruto took a deep breath, sighing before making his way over to the lavatory toward the door. He grabbed Maria's scroll, typing in the code. Grabbing earbuds from her pack. He pops them in, waiting for them to say that they're synced. The biggest thing he became interested in while being in this world was culture. In the shinobi world, there was one culture and revolved around life and death. In this world, they embraced so many different things. Music, for one, was the gateway drug. These things called video games, so many games. There was something called first-person shooters, real-time strategy, and even role-playing. So many things, and every one of them unique, his world didn't have this. Playing music in his ears now, the blonde wanted to try everything. Now that they had the downtime, not worrying about Grim on the road, the blonde cuts loose. Every genre he could look up, putting the music on random. The blonde laid back in the miniature couch, hearing as something called metal played in his ears. A music video played of 5 people on a stage, playing various instruments. 2 of them playing some type of string instrument, with one of them really going into it. He loved that sound, finding himself plucking at the air with his fingers. Bopping his head up and down. This band name, he looked at it, Forspoken. Through it all. Here he did, listening to the lyrics. For some reason, it made him feel emotional. These lyrics, the combination of music and the emotional voice of the singer's voice, cut deeper into him. Somewhere while bopping his head up and down, he found himself biting his lip. Keeping him from crying out loud as he thought about the people he would never see again. He stops, thinking of them, and looked toward Maria and the others. The blonde leaned up, just staring at the brother and sister. In a way, even if he crushed on Sakura a lot as a kid, there came a point that he loved her more like a sister. She was the closest thing to him when it came to that level of love. Kakashi, not exactly the father, but an uncle. He lost them both because he was too late. While the music was playing, he secretly opened up another tab on the screen. Something he figured out one night, he presses incognito, whatever that word means. It meant that anything he searched wouldn't get saved, from what he read. He sighs, looking at Maria and them, shame filling him. He begins to type in the search bar, finding various web pages on grief counseling. Everything here had revolved around Grim, bandits, or someone committing suicide. The blonde reads that word, suicide, the act of ending one's own life. I'm not from here, so what's the point of me continuing to be here? That dark thought crossed his mind, and it wasn't the first time. How can I feel happy, knowing that they're never coming back and it's all my fault? Thunder rolled outside as heavy snow fell. Getting up from the couch, he walks to the bathroom. Looking himself in the bathroom mirror. He looked clean, but felt dirty. Bringing his 2 index fingers up, stretching his lips into a smile. It immediately fell when he let go, pain had hurt him more than anyone else could ever have. Naruto Uzumaki never feared death, he feared losing everyone closest to him. In one fell swoop, not only did pain kill the 2 closet people to him, but still managed to take everything away. He backed away from the mirror, hearing the music switching to a slow and sad song. He felt like pressing the little fast forward icon to skip, but he kept listening to it. Finding himself staring at the teen in the mirror, he balls his fist up. He hated himself because in the end, he could blame everyone else, but he was the root cause. It would be easy, so he locked the bathroom door. Taking the first few shuddering deep breaths, he prepared to punch out the mirror. He draws his fist back, all he needed was a nice little sharp piece, and it was just a quick jam into the back of his neck. The 9 tails couldn't heal something severed, he supposed. So, with that thought out, he went for the punch. In that brief moment, just before impact, he saw them and stopped. Sakura and Kakashi, standing behind him before disappearing almost as quickly as they appeared. Come on, just do it. That old woman is safe here, you don't owe anyone anything now. Do it, do it, you fucking coward. That inner demon inside of screamed, but instead of listening to it this time around, Naruto stood stalwart. Tears pour from his eyes, hot and fresh, and silent sobs escaped his lips while he huddled up against the bathroom floor. He took the earbuds out his ears, pausing the music while just sitting there. Somehow, somewhere in his heart and soul, that little bit light left told him that Sakura and Kakashi would never forgive him for just giving up. What was that he used to say, give up on me, giving up, yeah, that was the line, he thought. Every night when she slept, he struggled with the overbearing sense of guilt. How the fuck could he smile, knowing full well that his true friends were gone because of him? Such a simple thing made him guilty because they don't get smile anymore. The blonde wasn't happy, truly happy, he was just surviving. Taking every day, every hour, one moment at a time. This delicate balance only maintained because he wondered how Maria would take it. Yeah, he saved her life nearly 3 days ago, but he still owed her. He owed her for the kindness, the absolute dedication to being his friend. Naruto was tied up to a post. Hanging upside down from a cruel prank played on him by some of the other children. He flopped around like a fish up on a butchering pole. Hey, let me out of here, I'll gonna beat you to a bloody pulp, Databeo. He screamed, thrashing about. You know, you could just use the escaping jutsu. Oh wait, you weren't in class today, weren't you? A girl called out to him. He turns himself to come face to face with a pinkhead. She was short, missing a front baby tooth. Hello. Hi, my name's Naruto. Oh, I know, my parents tell me you're a menace. So, what happened to you, get caught by our sensei? She questioned, watching him swing a little. Seems kind of mean. Oh, no, I just stopped some kids from bullying this one girl. I think her name was Hinata, Naruto told the pinkhead. I guess they didn't like that too much, well screw 'em. Because when I get down from here, I'm gonna kick their butts. She giggles, which made him stop, you're such a hard head. BFFT, Naruto blew his breath, I'm just determined. What are you doing trying to become a shinobi? She inquired while looking for something, I am looking to be the great Kunoichi to ever exist. I'm going to be greatest Hokage, ever. He declared, well she found the knot and I'm going to He fell down onto the ground, rubbing his head. She walked over to him, offering her hand. He looked up, smiling before taking it. She felt so warm to the touch, which made him blush. Several villagers stared at him accusingly, but for this one moment he could just ignore them. So, what's your name? Naruto asked while rubbing his arm bashfully. She smiles, her green eyes full of life and mirth. My name's Sakura, Sakura Haruno. Do you want to go play some kickball? My friends are just in the park over there, we need a good kicker. She excitedly offered and then drags him by the shirt. Come on, maybe you get Shikamaru and Choji to win a game. Shikamaru Choji, wait, aren't you from my class, Sakura? He inquired before they made a full dash for the park. She laughs, well what, never noticed me? Not really, I'm sorry. Don't sorry, Sakura stated before smiling brightly, all you gotta do is be better. Yeah, I can do that. I can be better. He replied, smiling brightly before he came up to the game at hand. Good. I have feeling this going to be a start of an awesome friendship. A knock at the door filled his ears, kid, you in there? Naruto bit his lip, getting up before slowly opening the door. Maria was standing there. Her ADA system was on. Oh dear, what happened, you look terrible. She questioned him, looking at his face. He signs to her, why do you even care about me? Well, that's a silly question, because the right thing just makes common sense. Hang on, let me come in there, she said while pushing him back gently before shutting the door. Naruto, listen to me, kid. You're hurting, don't tell me you're not, I know. She smiles softly at him, I'm not blessed with children of my own. However, I know when someone is still hurting. The old woman took a deep breath before watching him have fresh tears roll down his eyes. You poor child, they did more than just kidnap you, take something so precious from you as well, didn't they? She realized while reaching out, taking his hands, what kind of monster does this to such a kind young man like you? Biting his lip, he slowly let out a small sob before grabbing her up into a hug. He stood a head taller than her, so she ended up buried into his chest. The old woman felt the young teen rock with another sob, that poor child. She brought her arms around him, perhaps it could help that just knowing that someone else was here with him. SHH, it's going to be okay, let it out. The blonde sunk down, she drops down with him, holding him while he continued crying into her shoulder. The old woman stroked his hair, humming a little bit. What kind of monsters indeed to hurt this child in such a way? The world he came from must have been truly deplorable, even if it trained him to be a warrior. What civilized world sends mere children, not even in their teens, to fight wars between other children? She wasn't just dealing with someone who was tortured and kidnapped, the poor boy had PTSD. The symptoms were all there. Seeing Lapis caring for his sister, did he have someone just as close? They were taken from him, probably by the same people that kidnapped him. After she felt him sob again, she herself remembered the loss of her own father, mother, and friends. Truly, they both lived in horrid worlds in their own right. Leaning back from her, Naruto laid against the wall. He stared ahead of himself, curled with knees to his chest. Maria still sat there next to him, rubbing his hand. The door wasn't locked, but it was closed, so hopefully none of the other two kids would just burst through. She didn't know what she going to do about them, but she knew the teen she rescued needed her. I'm not going to force you to tell, you tell me when you're ready. Just know, I'm right here for you. You don't need to go anywhere else, and certainly because I've been there, that other option isn't the right choice either. Naruto, you saved my life the other day, somewhere in that heart of yours is the person with oceans of empathy. Maria comforted him while rubbing his hand. I think your pain is horrible, but I also believe that you still can rise up above it. How? He signed while looking toward the wall, I'm not like you. I don't want you to be like me, I want you to be you. Whoever you were, I trust that you were a good person. She replied before holding a fist out to him, I'll take this ride with you until you say it's over. He looks out to the fist, slowly reaching up before bumping it. She smiles watching as he wipes the tears away with his sleeve. He starts signing to her again, I don't know if I can be shinobi here. He told her while looking at his reflection in the tile. You can't be that here, probably true, but what if there was another path? You can still use all that training you have, none of it going to waste. Perhaps, Naruto, together we can find our peace. She offered to him, laying her hands out in front of her. What do you think? This blind old woman training you to be a huntsman. Naruto craned his head before searching on the scroll the hand sign for huntsman. He found out how to spell it and began to so before pointing it down as a question. What is a huntsman and what exactly do they do? He asked, looking at her. Well kid, huntsmen and huntresses are the guardians of this world. They stand up against the grim, I used to be one until I lost my eyes. Remember, I told you this back at Reynard's. Maybe it's something you should consider, an option. Maria explained while looking up into the ceiling, I think you would make an awesome huntsman. You think so? Naruto asked with sign language. Yeah, I bet my life on it. She stated before getting up, come on, you need some rest. Put your demons away, just for tonight, because tomorrow I think we'll start fresh. Naruto nodded, getting up before both of them left the bathroom. He turned off the light, making sure to leave the door cracked. He watched as Maria got into bed. Going back over to the lavesiette, he got a blanket from a drawer. Laying down on a couch pillow, he put the blanket over him. Taking Maria's scroll out of her pocket. He began to type, learning more about this world. Then thought about what Maria said, huntsman, and that is what she was. So, he began to do research into it. No sense in letting everything he trained to do go to waste, somehow, it made him feel a little bit better thinking this way. Naruto took a deep breath, okay let's see what I can learn about them. Lapis yawns as he wakes up, his yellow eyes falling toward Naruto. The blonde was asleep, walking over to him, the brunette saw he was halfway off the lavesiette. Man, I'm sorry little guy, here let me get you somewhere more comfortable. Lapis thought before going to pick him up, only for Naruto to suddenly spring up and pin him to the floor. Holy crap, I'm sorry. Lapis yelled out, waking everyone up, I was just checking on you. Sapphire raises up, coughing a little bit, big brother what's going on? Oh, nothing sis, I just really got our new friend on the wrong side of the couch. Lapis commented before Naruto let him go, holding his hand out. He took it, being pulled upwards by the strong younger teen, damn, that's some strength you got there. Are you okay, Blueberry? Maria inquired while leaning back up, he's jumpy since we got attacked on the road by Grim. Oh, the brunette rubbed the back of his head, sorry about that. Naruto waved him off, signing to him, I'm sorry. Oh, don't be sorry, that's my bad man, I was going to try to get on the bed while I took the couch. I kind of figured that I still owed you for kind of saving my butt. Lapis stated before smiling brightly, so, do you want to take the bed for the last 2 hours we're here? Sapphire was getting up, walking over to the lavesiette a blanket in hand. She watches as Naruto nods, getting his blanket. She bends down, getting the scroll he dropped, hey he turns to her, seeing that she was reaching out to him. You dropped your scroll. Well, technically it's my scroll, Maria pointed before taking it from Sapphire. You two get in my bed, this old horse is up anyhow. Wait, Granny, are you sure, won't you just hurt your back? Lapis inquired before getting smacked in the head by his sister, ow. Sapphire was pouting childishly, that's rude, don't call her granny. I meant it with almost 100% love and some smartness. He admitted before walking over to the bed she had occupied, seriously though, thank you for this. Don't thank me for just doing the right thing, sonny boy. Now shut up, get some sleep. Naruto, Maria watched as the young teen looked at her, that goes for you too. The blonde gave a small salute before crashing on the bed. It didn't take long and he was out like a light. The brother and sister duo both got comfortable. She watches as the little girl yawns, cuddling against her brother before falling asleep. Maria looked at her older brother, smiling. You're doing the best you can, sonny. Not many kids would stick around each other so long, she told him before walking over. Word of the wise, Naruto over there is just not really the person to touch to wake up, you understand. Lapis nods, adjusting his hurt shoulder a little, well if I didn't know I do now. That's the spirit kiddo, Maria complimented before tossing another pillow to him. Get some sleep, I'm going to be up watching some news on my scroll. Good night Maria. Lapis yawned before falling asleep, no sooner than his eyes closed a peaceful visage fell over him. She looked past Lapis and over to Naruto. Looking at the last tab open on her scroll, she noted that he was looking at Huntsman Academies. She purses her lips and then nods her head. She gets up, grabbing her keycard before walking outside. She places a call on her scroll, taking a deep breath. Mistral City Services, how may I take your call? The person answered the call. Hello, my name is Maria Calavera. I'm currently taking guardianship over a young teenager. He doesn't have documentation. How would I go about getting him some? Maria inquired while leaning against the wall of the hotel room. Well, he'd have to come in, our office is open currently busy, but you can bring him in tomorrow morning. Are there any disabilities this person may have? The woman asked over the phone, what forms of ID are we looking to get it exactly? I'd say whatever helps him gets established, also a traveling license as well for across the pond. Maria told the woman, looking toward the door. She bit her lip and sighs, I actually need to bring a group with me. Oh okay, we'll discuss everything tomorrow, take care now. You too, the old woman said before hanging up the call. Naruto walked through the sewage of his body's mindscape, turning the corner to come face to face with the Nine Tails. He was sitting in his cage, having long detected him. The tailed beast sighs in annoyance, watching as the blonde took a seat in front of him. The prodigal jailer returns. I just have a few questions, furball. Because let's be honest, if I'm curious about this world, you are too. Since when I die, you'll just be released and reform. Naruto reasoned with him, sitting cross-legged, you know I just almost committed suicide, please, you're just being angsty. Leave it to one horrible thing to break you. The Nine Tails insulted him, interrupting what the blonde had to say. Naruto took a deep breath, Maria has been good to me, and by extension you. She didn't have to save us that day, heck, maybe an Akatsuki member survived. About that, did you ever ask how many bodies there was? I actually did one night, she said there was 7. Naruto said while counting on his hand, Itachi wasn't there so. Keep your guard just in case, the Nine Tails said while looking at him. You didn't come here to discuss the Akatsuki. Naruto bashfully rubs the back of his head, no I didn't. I just wanted to ask you a question and it'll be stupid I know. Like always. Hey, screw you, I'm working with what I got databao. Anyway, you probably know what I've been reading up on. So, all these shinobi they have, these huntsmen, they have something called aura. The blonde started to explain, gauging the fox's reaction before moving on, I read that it comes from the soul. What is the point? The Nine Tails beckoned while lowering its head, you're thinking of trying to unlock it for yourself. Kind of, maybe, if it is even possible. I mean, technically, our souls are just spiritual energy for Charka, right? Naruto inquired while remembering Sakura's words, I'm just saying it could be an option. You're weakened, so the very first thing you go for is more power. Remind me to tell you that again if you ever meet the Uchiha in the future. The Nine Tails replied with venom in his voice, scowling at the blonde. That's not the same. I just don't want to get hit by something and start bleeding again. I get it, you can regenerate my wounds, but what if I had something to block it before it happened? Don't you get tired of that? I know I do, it's going to get hard to explain it away in this world. Naruto reasoned, crossing his arms before standing up. HMPH, well look at you, making a reasonable point. I know there's an old saying, a lot of geezers in the village used it. Better the devil you know than the one you don't. If I'm the devil you know, there could be one out there a lot worse than me. He pointed out matter-of-factly, so, just this once, indulge me. The Nine Tails thought for a moment and then replies, aura is basically just spiritual energy. And? That's it, it's a projection of spiritual energy. Basically, if you want to unlock it, you'll have to meditate a lot. The Nine Tail replied, then again, if someone had a strong aura, they could perhaps bring it out of you. Okay, so someone like Maria, she could just use her energy to reach into me and pull it out. You want to word that a little differently? Naruto looks confused, recoiling back, why would I? Innuendos still go over your head, gods help whoever you decide to pick as a mate. I'm not looking for that, you perverted fox. The blonde exclaimed with a blush across his face, it immediately fell when he thought of Jiraiya. To his credit, the Nine Tails didn't throw that in his face, instead a pregnant pause fell over them. The blonde took a deep breath first, I just want to protect those who I call friends. You don't think you can do that with chakra, in this world we could be gods. I can do that with chakra, but like I said before, how do we even explain it off? It's not like people go around wielding multiple abilities. From what I looked up, they have something called semblances, which is just one thing the soul manifests. Naruto explained before pursing his lips, I wonder what mine would be. DCH, like I would ever care. The giant fox sneered before seeing the blonde smile a little bit, what? Can you tell me about him, Ashura? Naruto inquired, watching the fox's eyes widened. I overheard as you kicked me out, was he someone close to you, your mate? By the gods, he wasn't my mate, he was my brother. The kitsune screamed out before his eyes widened as he realizes his blunder. Sneaky little shit. I wasn't trying to be sneaky, I'm just curious. I want to know about the Nine Tails before he became well kind of an asshole. Naruto admitted before shrugging nervously, don't get me wrong, I can understand it because I've been there before. I often think about, what if me and Sasuke's choices switched? Do you really want to know that answer? The Nine Tails inquired before the room began to turn, because it's not good, even by my own standards. Naruto turns around, seeing himself, except that he was wearing a cloak not too much unlike the Akatsuki. Instead, though, it held a red sun all over the back of it, and why did he reek of rot? No, it wasn't rot, it was pure death. His eyes widened when he saw the corpses of everyone he ever loved standing behind him. What is that? Naruto screamed out, watching as he opened his eyes. The kitsune behind him grins, perhaps the greatest example of karma. Naruto, you would have truly been the monster they called you. I would have relished in it. Why the fuck would you ever relish this is just wrong. Naruto screamed out, turning to face the kitsune as the image faded. I would never ever hurt the people I care about. Let's just say, in that world, your choices meant no one ever cared about you. You see, your friend Sasuke's choices are only forgiven because everyone feels sorry for him. If you had made the same choices, they'd hunt you down and unseal me. It'd be a death sentence to you, so you wanted the answer, and you hate it. Welcome to Humanity 101, be careful what you wish for. The Nine Tails lectured Naruto, standing up straight. Okay, so, who is Ashura to you then? Was he some humanoid-tailed beast? Naruto inquired while sitting down cross-legged again, still a little rattled by what he saw. Ashura was my brother because his father was the sage of 6 paths. His brother, Indra, created ninjutsu. The Nine Tails told Naruto, but it wasn't lost upon the boy with a distant being uttered at Indra's name. Sounds like you hated Indra, why? Because that little bastard couldn't accept the fact, despite being older, Hagoromo chose Ashura to be his successor. The Nine Tails crosses at arms because he believed that power and power alone was the only thing needed to unite people. Naruto realized and then looked at the Nine Tails, so, wait a minute, Indra created ninjutsu. Yes. So, everything I can do right now, I should be thanking him. The blonde inquired, it wasn't a question meant to irritate the fox, but a legitimate one. The Nine Tails sneered, if you want to thank someone who not only taught people to kill each other in troves, but also caused a generational civil war, go ahead. On second thought, never mind, he sounds like a bastard. Yes, he was, because his reaction to not inheriting his father's position was to make war with his brother. They fought over and over again, but what made me hate your kind the most was that you all ended up betraying Ashura. All Indra had to do was start having children who bore his power. Ashura, meanwhile, only ever had 2 sons. The Nine Tails explained before sighing, naturally, Ashura went off into a battle and got overwhelmed. And people who were scared turned over to Indra's side. Yes, I whisked his children away, the very same children later formed a clan. The Senju clan, care to guess who Indra's clan was? The Nine Tails questioned while looking into Naruto's eyes. Naruto thought about and then shrugs, I couldn't possibly tell you. Uchiha, his clan was the Uchiha clan. Wait a minute, so Sasuke is related to that bastard? Naruto shouted while jumping up, but even on his worst day, Sasuke isn't some mass-murdering spoiled brat. It runs in the blood, I'm glad that the bastard clan is only down to 3. Wait a minute, 3, but aren't Sasuke and Itachi the only ones left? Naruto questioned before thinking, counting with his fingers. Why are you counting with your fingers, brat? Double-checking the math, Naruto admitted before watching the fox slam his head on the bars, what? It's basic math, you don't need to count using fingers, you dumbass. The fox shouted before sighed, no, there was a third one. Boo. He called himself Madara Uchiha, and he is the reason that we're here in this together. More on that later I suppose. The Nine-Tails took a deep breath and sighed. You know, it kind of felt good talking about it. Yeah, I guess it did, but I guess before I go, that thing about my soul, how would I get to it? Naruto inquired, looking around, not like there's any other door in this place. That's because you aren't searching hard enough. Goodbye for now, Naruto. Hey, you said my name, you growing fond of me, furball? Naruto asked before feeling himself getting jettisoned out of the room at a breakneck pace, screaming in surprise all the way. The large kitsune just looks at the doorway, a small smile forming over his lips before he lowered his head. Idiot. Naruto shot upward as sweat covered him. He looked over toward Maria, who was sitting on the lavesiad. She folds a paper she was reading down. Oh, you're the first to wake up, she said before looking over toward Lapis and Sapphire. He looked over to them, getting up from the bed before stretching, revealing a tattoo across his stomach. The woman had seen it before, never asking him about it. For all she knew, those cultist freaks tatted the poor kid up. That's when she chuckles while he scratches his behind. So, kid, I saw where you were looking up things about huntsmen. I guess what I said to you earlier had you thinking, Maria stated before watching him turn to her. I know a friend, he's a headmaster of a prep academy. It's just not here in Mistral City, or Anima for that matter. Where? Naruto signed while looking at her curiously. The old woman smiled softly. I'm going to get you papers tomorrow for us to fly over to Sanus. It's across the ocean. I have a friend in Pharaoh's academy. What about you? Naruto asked with sign language. I'm not leaving you alone, my friend. I'm going with you, kid, because I might as well impart my knowledge onto you. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to train you to be the next Grim Reaper. Maria stated before looking over the brother and sister sleeping. As for them, I don't know. If all they have left in this world is each other, perhaps it's better that we help them too. Naruto signed while looking over toward them. It's the right thing, and that's just common sense. Maria smiled softly at him. Look at you, already absorbing what I spout. Perhaps you and I aren't so different, Naruto. Maybe not, friend. Want me to wake them up? He asks before smiling mischievously. She shrugs, which gave him carte blanche to whistle. Lapis and Sapphire jet upward, looking around. They saw Naruto standing there, waving his hand with a small smile. The girl was pouting and got up to punch him in the arm. She kind of hit him a little hard, which made him rub his arm. Lapis chuckles, watching his sister go to the bathroom. Lapis yawns before looking at Naruto. You got one heck of a whistle, you know, geez. You understand sign language? Naruto asked in sign, watching as Lapis smiled. The brunette turns around and signs to the blonde, yes. The blonde smiles, signing to him. We're going to get something to eat here soon. What are you all doing after this? Lapis sighs and then gave him a sad smile, probably going back on the streets. The old woman seating on the lavesiad shook her head. Not on my watch, sonny boy. How would you feel about coming with us? I don't think we could, we'd be a burden. Lapis replied only to get smacked in the head by Naruto. Ow, not you too, man, come on. You're not a burden, the blonde signed to him, you just need help. Geez, didn't have to smack me upside my head though. Who'd you learn that from, my sister? The brunette complained, only to see Naruto have a warm smile come across his face. What? I had a friend who used to do it to me when I was being stupid. Naruto signed before holding his fist up, signing with his free hand, friend. Yeah, I guess we can be friends, Blondie. Broken Moon. It takes strength to make your way through grief, to grab hold of life and let it pull you forward. Petty Davis. And we're all set. A man behind camera stated as Naruto stood in fronted. The blonde walks around, watching as a card printer printed out his ID card. He looked at his name, noting that at the very least he could see his date of birth was correct. Naruto Uzumaki, standing here in a foreign land pretending to be a natural-born citizen of it. He saw that one of his eyes were half-lidded, obviously from the flash before the photo was taken. The little blue book was handed to him, his traveling pass. Maria swore up and down that she was his grandmother, that his parents were killed in a grim attack. All of his documentation having been lost. Naruto thought it wouldn't work, but surprisingly it did. Apparently, towns around the area fell like dominoes every so often, only to get rebuilt. The fact that they didn't ask Maria about her supposed children meant they took her at her word, especially when she presented her old huntress license. Apparently, she had been very famous since the man at the desk gawked over her. He continued to do so, even as Lapis and Sapphire got their travel books. The trio of kids looked at one another, with Sapphire smiling at Naruto. She had the same type of eyes as her brother, golden yellow, that seemed to light up the room. She was significantly younger though, only being 7. Poor girl must have had it hard over her life as well. Naruto knew what it was like to be on the streets, looking for food. He swore to himself that if he needed to take odd jobs, his new friends weren't going to go hungry. Somewhere, inside of his mind, that guilt remained. It wasn't boiling to surface again, not yet at least, but for now it was in the middle ground. He wondered if Haruka, Jiraiya, and all of his other friends living would be proud of him. Some part of him, the hopeful part, wishes that one day he could see them again. Walking out of the courthouse, Naruto saw that Maria was getting a call on her scroll. Lapis looks toward the crowds on the street, holding his sister's hand. A pang fell on Naruto's heart as he remembered the day Sakura untied him from that butchering post. It had been one of the happiest days of his life before she met Sasuke. It was where he developed a crush for her and that bond they'd share until her untimely end. She hadn't run toward the village, he realized, replaying where her body was found, she had run away from it. She knew it right then and there and chose to not only lead them away from the village but away from him as well. Biting his lip, the blonde watches as Lapis and Sapphire were talking amongst each other. He squeezes his hands so long as he drew a breath into his lungs and his heartbeat. There would never be another Sakura, he'd stand in front of thousands of Grimm, but his light would fade out long before they ever reached Maria and these two. Sure, as his name was Naruto Uzumaki, he would never go back on his word because that was his code. Naruto. Lapis called out, his eyes opened up to see all three of them standing there. Come on. We got to get going, Maria is wanting some food, she kind of gets crab ow. Don't you dare say crabby, you butt nugget. Sapphire chastised her older brother and then smiles brightly, come on Naruto. The blonde smiles softly, feeling two hands on his shoulders. He knew they stood behind him and all he needed was their extra push to help move forward. His eyes briefly saw them, Sakura and Kakashi, standing there. Both of them smiling and beckoning him to move forward. Chapter 5. Act 1. Skyward. Naruto's world was a far cry from this one, technologically speaking. The young teen was looking around in amazement of the city of Mistral. What made him finally take a double take were the giant, floating, blimps near the airport. Hot air balloons were a thing in his world, but nothing ever to this scale. Massive would have been a grand understatement, they were titanic. 3 weeks have passed since they got their IDs and have been living out of hotel rooms. Simply learning about the city life, Naruto getting used to the hustle and bustle. He found it all mesmerizing, most of these people had no idea just how beautiful this way to him. The ships themselves were almost as big as the Hokage monument back home. It would just be amazing to see one of these things, but from where he stood on the balcony of the station, he saw 8 of them. He quickly got into Maria's scroll, looking them up via taking a picture. Placing a single earbud in, he wanted to know more. Quickly clicking on a video link that pops up, making sure that they weren't back just yet. He leans forward on the railing, listening to the female computerized voice. Today's topic, the Mistralian skyboat, a massive feat of engineering and testament to humanity's ever-progressing expansion of technology. Mistralian skyboats, also called albatrosses, are the world's largest civilian transport aircraft. Powered by 4 massive SDC-designed, gravity dust thrusters. These massive airships have wind dust balloons that help keep afloat whilst traveling. Capable of a max travel speed of 90 knots. 90 what now, what does a knot have to do with speed? Hang on, Naruto brought the search bar up, typing in his quandary. So it's basically a little faster than what the cars display as miles per hour. Neat. Yawning before stretching a little bit, he watches as one of the giant airships fly off from the dock. He heard the roaring of what he could only assume were the engines. It lifted higher and higher till it reaches one of the lower flying clouds. In a matter of minutes, it turned into a mahogany-colored speck in the sky. He watches as parents grab their children, ushering them along. Leaning on his knuckle, smiling down, he imagined what if his world had been like this. So advanced, peaceful in a way, minus the monsters in the woods. Watching as time rolled onward, in real time, with to the beat of drumming feet from the hundreds of people gathered in the airport. If anyone is going to bring these things to home, it's going to be old man Tazuna. Naruto thought to himself before leaning back off the railing, turning around to find Maria walking toward him. Greeting her with a small curtsy and 2-finger salute. The blonde pops his shoulder before walking toward her. The first time I saw an airport, kid, I was amazed too. Lapis and Sapphire are grabbing snacks for the trip over across the pond. I'm coming to collect you before we end up doing a home alone on you. Maria joked before noting his confused expression. Oh that's right, you've never seen that movie, never mind, I'm pretty, we'll have plenty time on the airship. Across the pond? Naruto questioned with sign language whilst walking with her. The turn of phrase, it means to go across the ocean. It'll be about a 6-day journey, she told him before watching Lapis and Sapphire come jogging toward them. Their hands were laden with goodies. Peanuts, a few candy bars, even burgers they got from the hot stations. Maria took one, marked for black beans, and unfurled the tinfoil. Taking a bite, she groans in delight at the vegetarian delight. Lapis hands Naruto one, which was loaded down with thin strips of meat, really thin. He looks at Lapis, what's these? They're called bacon, it's like the best thing ever. The brunette teen stated before taking a bite out of his, sapphire. I honestly prefer the veggie burgers, meatheads, isn't that right Ms. Calavera? She looked for support, watching as the old woman nodded. Too much grease, but I don't think Naruto here has tried bacon before, go on, give it a shot. Maria encouraged him before sinking her teeth back into the veggie burger she held. Naruto saw the tannish liquid on the tinfoil, taking a deep breath, he bites down. The crunching of the bacon filled his tastibids with all sorts of meaty flavorings. It made him take a sharp breath from the suddenness of it, and a bright smile filled his face as the cheese spread over his tongue. Blushing and chewing, the blonde swallows after a few moments. Lapis smirks, well. Naruto's only response was to give him a thumbs up. Sapphire just rolls her eyes before taking another bite, boys, always in love with their meats. The quartet walk while still eating their burgers. Naruto saw so many different food stands. Something called boba tea, which he was tempted to try until he saw the price of it. Maria was very giving person, but that was surely too much. Liens, as he had learned, were the currency of the world. They came in a paper form, but the most common was something called electronic currency. Which was sort of having a wallet that you didn't have to hold on to. He learned this because that's what Maria's money was coming from. Also learning, as something called a minor, he wasn't able to open himself one without an adult's permission. Even Lapis, who was just a year older than him, couldn't open one if he wanted to. It was confusing to Naruto, very confusing, because where he came from children their age was killing each other. It felt wrong, but then again, perhaps the way he got brought up was also wrong. In what world was it ever correct for a child to kill someone? That thought had been purveying around his mind for a little while, it wasn't because he was getting soft. No, he was viewing a lot of this world as soft, despite the threat of the grim. He didn't hate that, in fact he was glad that these people could grow into a childhood, but it bothered him. Because no matter how hard someone would push him, childhood ended for him when he saw Haku and Zabuza die. That's when becoming a shinobi became very real for him, death was always around every corner, and every day. Getting thrusted into a world where, yes there was monsters, but seemed a lot safer just threw him off a little bit. Last night, if he hadn't stopped himself, Naruto could have broken Lapis against the wall and not even missed a beat. It was only the very small moment of clarity that saved Lapis from being put through a wall. It scared the brunette, but Naruto himself was afraid of it as well. Because it was pure instinct, just like him sleeping on his left side constantly. Something that was hammered into him every single day, of every single hour, for the past 12 years of his life. Turning 13 years old was the only break from it because initially he had given up. Walking toward the Akatsuki had given him clarity. That's when the plans between him and the Nine Tails formed. It was the one time, and hopefully the only time, Naruto ever would listen that insidious part of himself. What bothers me, brat, is that you never asked her to go back to the area. Perhaps we could have killed any survivors if they somehow remained there. The Nine Tails stated through the mental link. Naruto frowns, taking a deep breath, if there was any alive I extremely doubt Maria would have just been able to walk away with me. HMPH, I see your point, but just make sure to keep an eye out. Something tells me this won't be the end of them, even if they are quite literally a world away from us. The Nine Tails advised before cutting the mental link for the day, leaving Naruto standing there to ponder what it said. Can't help but have that feeling too, but it's probably just because it seems too easy for us. Nothing ever goes according to plan for this long, hopefully it keeps going. Naruto pensively reasoned before marching alongside Lapis, finishing his burger. He tosses the tinfoil in the trash can, while Lapis finishes his at the next trash can. Maria burps before tossing hers in the same can as Lapis, leaving only Sapphire who was savoring her meal. Maria checks her scroll, seeing that their tickets were going to be called in 10 minutes. She leads the trio kids toward the boarding area. They walk up to the window, getting their tickets scanned in. She was nervous for a moment when they had an issue with Naruto's ticket but managed to get it to go through. Eventually the clerk was handed his ID and travel pass, TP, and looked at it. Naruto Calavera? The clerk asked, looking between him and his grandmother before scanning the ID and TP once more. Did you just get these today, kid? Naruto nods his head, signing, yes, my parents were killed in a grim attack. My grandmother and I got my ID straightened out here. The woman was confused until Lapis stood up, he said that his parents were killed in a grim attack. So, his grandmother and him got his IDs fixed today. And you are little man? Oh, I'm Lapis Lazuli. I'm flying with my sister, Sapphire, we're not related to them in any way. It's just that I can read sign and figured you needed a translator. The brunette offers up, giving the woman a bright smile. The clerk blew an errand hair from her face, rolling her eyes, fine. Here's your official boarding pass. I don't get paid enough to deal with governmental issues. Naruto pumps his fist before grabbing the pass out of the woman's hands gently. He stared at it, actually feeling giddy. In all of his life he never exactly got the chance to fly before. Riding on top of Gamabunta back didn't count by any stretch of the imagination. Big Guy was the mechanical bull from hell. The old woman got her pass, followed by the blue-haired siblings. In that fleeting thought, Naruto had an epiphany, perhaps there was way he could get back home. However, the summoning jutsu also had a reverse counterpart. So, if Jiraiya knew he was missing, then it should have been used by now. He lightly grabs his head, groaning a little to himself about the complicated thoughts going on in his head. Hey. He turns around looking at Sapphire, she places hand on his shoulder, you, okay? Naruto took a deep breath, nodding, going nutty. Isn't this place totally awesome? Why yeah it is, it's super cool. Lapis, aren't you ready to fly? Sapphire inquired from her brother, only to see him nervously walking with a yeah, sure, fly he Lapis laughs nervously before hanging his mouth agape as they followed behind a line of people. The skyboat came into view, it was humongous. If Naruto wasn't sure how big he was now. Never mind the Hokage monument, this thing was double that size. It looked like a massive ship, the one he only heard of back at his village. This thing may have been mahogany in color, he saw the rivets. Sapphire did too, apparently, and looked over toward Maria. Ms. Calavera, why do they make it look like wood despite being steel? She inquired, slowly walking with the rest of the people. The old woman pensively thought before answering, well I can't see colors. However, I'd imagine it would only be for the aesthetics looks. Kind of reminds of the tales of Skadbladner, Sapphire commented while looking over it. I never imagined that these ships were so huge. Why, Lapis questioned her before looking down, there's no way we can ever repay this. Please, child, if I was worried about payment, I'd have you carry the bags. No, I rarely come into company and my young grandson here fancies you as friends. Maria politely said, withholding the true nature of her relationship to Naruto. Naruto smiles, slightly blushing, wish you could see this, Dadabeo. I actually do, contrary to your belief, once your mind is asleep, I can replay memories like movies in here. The way you're feeling right now, giddy and excited, I will enjoy this. Oh, shucks nine tails, careful now that almost sounded like you're enjoying my company. Naruto teases mentally before hearing a chuckle and smiling. I got a chuckle out of you. Whatever, brat, I'm cutting our link for the day. Naruto felt the mental link getting cut, sighing before getting close to the gangway. The glass bay windows across the airship were marvelous. They probably allowed people to feel as if they were walking on air. Judging by their thickness, he reckoned that they could possibly even hold against one of his Rasengans. Maria and Co. began boarding the skyboat, walking up the gangway. The kids noted that her name was written on her side. The Mistralian skyboat. Fengyuan, embroidered with a bird symbol at the end of the name. The name written in brass-colored letterings against a mahogany-colored steel. Naruto noted despite it being a civilian craft, there was large guns on the side. The old woman took notice, they're called flak guns. Basically, if any flying grim tried to attack, the ship can defend itself. The blonde made an O face, figuring that made sense. Lapis meanwhile upon walking up the gangway saw the beautiful inside. Finely decorated, pictures of the previous captains who all had captained the Fengyuan before. Sapphire wasn't too far behind him. She practically gushes over the artwork. Running over to the artwork, noting how lifelike it was. Lapis was walking with Maria and Naruto as they gazed at the various pieces of decor. Everything was red and he even recognized some of the designs. Red torii gates used as openings between walls. This ship was expressing the very culture based on the name it was given. It felt bewildering to him, since some of them could be dead ringers for stuff he could find at his homeworld. Adjusting his new jacket that Maria had got him since his last one got destroyed, the orange fabric fit loosely around him. His navy blue sweatpants and wide undershirt making him stand out from the suits and dresses around him. Lapis, like his sister, was wearing all dark blue. Their golden eyes and lighter blue hair the only thing contrasting. Eventually Naruto roams away, finding himself in the main lobby. The bay windows showing him the rest of the airport. He wondered up in amazement, peering out through the windows. Finding a nearby seat, the blonde watches several trucks carrying some sort of violet dust, moved away from the skyboat. Excuse me. Naruto turns around to see a white-haired girl standing there. Her hair tied up into a bun. Her complexion was dark and she wore a green dress with yellow sleeves. Her alabaster-colored eyes shimmered from the light. She slowly walked over to a seat just in front of his. Is this seat taken? She inquired further before looking at him nervously. He held up his hands, signing, no, it's free I think. She smiles, sitting in the seat in front of his, extending her hand out. My name is Amira, she greeted him as he took her hand, it's nice to meet you stranger. Nice to meet you too, stranger. Naruto signed before looking over his shoulder to see Lapis and Sapphire heading his way. Why did you want to sit here? Oh, because this is the best view. It's always a thrill to see these skyboats lift off. She stated chipperly before watching the blonde sign. It's my first time on one of the skyboats. Naruto admitted before leaning back in his chair. Why are you here alone? I'm not alone, Amira told him before looking over at her shoulder. My dad and mom are here with me. They said I should just go introduce myself to you since well you're sitting over here alone. He's not alone anymore, figures you'd be here. Maria stated before coming to sit down at a chair next to his. Hello young lady, keeping my grandson in good company. Oh, he is your grandson. Amira acknowledged before holding her hand out. I'm Amira. Nice to make your acquaintance, Lady Amira. Maria said with a small curtsy, so nice of you to come hang out here with my social awkward grandson. Naruto shot her a small glare, then smiling softly before they both saw Lapis and Sapphire run over to them. Sapphire was the first to take her seat. Ha, beat you to it. Dang it Saf, tripping me doesn't mean you won, it means you cheat. Whatever Lapis wanted to say died as he stared at Amira. Hi. Amira herself, with her alabaster eyes, looked up at Lapis. She smiled softly, holding her hand out. Hello sir. Hello, nice to meet you too. Lapis spluttered out nervously, a small blush on his face. She giggles before blushing herself, never said it was nice to meet you. Oh, wow, you didn't. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm being an idiot. The brunette nervously continued before sitting down at the last chair. Sorry. Naruto looks at Sapphire, signing, what's wrong with Lapis? He's got a crush, she replied back quickly, stupidly smiling at him. The blonde looks at Lapis, noting his blush and then chuckling the best he could. Sapphire cringes a little at the broken sounds coming from Naruto's throat, which made him shrink back just a little. The brunette girl slides her hand over on the table, smiling at him. He lightly blushes before smiling brightly. Maria looks at him, warrior or not, you're still just a boy. Speakers around them suddenly crackle to life. A computerized voice sounding off from it. Attention all passengers of MS Fengyuan. Lift-off procedure is about to commence. Please, find a seat and brace yourselves. Naruto scooted closer to the window, along with Sapphire. The machine began to shake a little bit. Maria smiles brightly, watching as the blonde gazes out. A sudden lurch brings him to smile brightly as they began to lift up. A high-pitched whirring noise could be heard from the window. Slowly, more and more, they climbed up. Then it happened, he stood up as they lifted up faster and faster. The blonde seeing the city below them. The large academy sitting near the top of the mountains, Haven. As they climbed, he saw where snow accumulated all around the city's walls to the west and south. Seeing it all from so high up had his heart racing. He places his hands on the window. For the first time since arriving at this world, Naruto fell genuinely in love with the beauty of it all. The huge city was nothing but a speck tiny footnote below him. He felt the aircraft turn, staying anchored down via chakra. He saw the entirety of Mistral City now. Surely, the Nine Tails would love this view when he fell asleep in their cabin tonight. They began to move forward, lurching at first before he saw the massive machine move. The blonde was just stupidly smiling, giddy, and felt like a kid seeing the most amazing thing in his life. He looks back at Maria, not even noticing the happy tears rolling down his face before turning back to the window. The old woman smiles before lowering her head down, still just a boy at heart. Nighttime came rather quickly. From all the excitement, Naruto found himself tired. He walks into their cabin, with Lapis and Sapphire passing right in front of him. Their room had 2 bunk beds, with Lapis quickly climbing up top, sticking his tongue out at his sister. She pouts before diving into the bottom bunk. Naruto walked over to the other one, smiling at the light-colored wood. Checking its sturdiness and nodding his head. He watched as the siblings were already getting under the covers. The excitement of the day getting to them as well. He looks in the middle of the room, seeing a small table with 4 chairs, a deck of cards at the center. Maria yawns while walking toward the bottom bunk. You alright, Naruto? The blonde wistfully purses his lips and then signs to her. When can we start training to try unlock my aura? We can start tonight. All you have to do is meditate for 3 hours. Focus on one thing and focus on it. When you get done, climb into bed. As for me, sonny boy, I'm dead tired. Maria told him before climbing into the bed. I assume you know how to meditate. He nods his head, smiling brightly. Focus on one thing. Focus on that one thing. As soon as you can do that we can work on deeper mediation. She explained before laying back on a pillow. Good night Naruto. With that, her clicking on the scroll she owned, the room's lights dimmed down. Naruto took a deep breath, walking over toward the table in the middle of the room. It was steel, cold to the touch, but it would do. He climbs up on top of it, moving the deck of cards. Perhaps Maria knew some card games they could all play together in their free time. He'd ask tomorrow, but for now, time to find some sense of normalcy through training. The snoring from Maria profaned the silence. However, he was used to people snoring back in his world. Taking a deep breath, Naruto crosses his legs, lowering himself down on the table. He breathes slowly, in and out, getting a rhythm going. One thing Naruto thought as he focused, just one thing. He felt the air around him from the AC unit inside the cabin. Thinking about memories, images from before and finding one of where he was swinging. Focusing on that one specifically and felt himself drifting toward it. Feeling time slowed down and finally come to a stop. Naruto wakes up still sitting on the table. He stretches before getting his keycard and opening his cabin door. He begins to wander through the halls of airship. Looking around the structure, smiling giddily like a child. He sees someone familiar, looking past the crowd, he saw pink hair. Running toward her, he bumped into a few people. "Sakura," Naruto called out as he found himself able to speak, "Sakura." The pink-haired girl turns around, smiling at him before takes another step forward. The flooring giving out, making him fall through the sky. He screamed out, seeing 8 different bodies fall around him. One of them being the wheelchair-bound Pain. Trying to keep himself focused, he crashes through trees before ending up in a familiar location. This wasn't Mistral, but the forest of Konoha. Its leaves falling around him, the night being filled with moonlight of the full unshattered moon. Naruto gets up, uninjured, but disturbed when the other bodies falling with him never impacted the dirt or trees around him. "Naruto." Her voice screams out to him. Without thinking he careens forward through the forest. Calling out to her, screaming her name, begging her to hold out until he got there. Tears filled his eyes, orange darting through the nightly trees, with wearing his old tracksuit. "Sakura, Sakura, hold on, Sakura. I'm coming, please hold on, fight back, Sakura. Fight. Help me, please, Naruto." She screamed in pain, her voice echoing all around him. "Stop, please, I don't know where he is." Naruto crashes through the forest, tears rolling down his eyes. "Please no, gods please no, this couldn't be where it happens. He can stop, he can change destiny." The blonde, orange, blur crashes through brush, shrugs, and small trees. He roars out as trees cut into him, slicing his arms open. "Sakura." Naruto bursts out into the shoreline of the river, seeing all 6 puppet Pains there. One of them was holding Sakura under the floating water, pressing its boot down on her head to drown her. He roared, charging forward while only getting stabbed by black rods as a reward. He struggled, hearing the loud foot stumps as the wheelchair-bound Pain came forward. Sakura's flailing stops, her arms drifting lifelessly the currents. Naruto pushes himself up, ripping his body open as he picks himself up off the rods. He screams reaching out to her, managing to smack away the one holding her down. He quickly drags her ashore. He flips her over. She's smiling at him, bringing a hand up to his face. "Why?" "Sakura, I'm here, you're alive. Why did you let us die?" She asked before her face become hollow and she slowly bled pink into the river. "Sakura, no 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 no. No." Naruto wailed while getting up and charging out at the Pain in the wheelchair. Maria was dodging Naruto left and right, barely able to keep up. Lapis and Sapphire were still asleep throughout their exchange. She blocks a strike aimed right for head with her left forearm, T-Laura shocking itself to life. She struggles to keep up, her reflexes semblance barely keeping her ahead of the teen. She finally finds an opening, punching square in the face. Naruto stumbled back, falling over a chair. She readied herself until he shot back up, breathing hard. Blood leaked down his nose from where she had punched him. She had a small bruise forming on her forearm, breathing hard while looking at him. "Naruto," she called out to him, "are you okay?" He stood there shaking, sitting down in a chair and clutching his head. He had just hurt someone that he called friend and he hadn't even been awake. Breathing deeply through his nose, trying to calm himself, hot tears spilled from his eyes. She walks over to him, placing a chair in front of him before sitting in it. She holds out her hands to him, which he slowly took. The blonde looked into her digital eyes, shuddering with each breath. "Poor boy, I wish there was a way for this to leave you," she told him before clutching his hands. "It's okay, I'm here." He pulls his hands back, signing to her, "Why am I still here? I should have died, I should have been with them." "Who, child, who should have you been with?" she inquired softly, watching his face contort to that one full of pain. Something she only saw when he was writhing on the observation table nearly 2 weeks prior. The blonde looks up at her, shaking his head. He pointed himself, then signing for the phrase "my fault" and then leaning back in the chair. "Survivor's guilt," Maria recognized while looking at his expressions. "You poor thing, no wonder those Grimm came after us a few weeks ago." "Naruto," Maria called to him, watching he looks up. "You're here for a reason, always remember that." "What reason is that?" He signed dejectedly before looking off to the side. She frowns at this and then slowly reaches out to him. "You saved me that day, without you, I'm not here." Maria reminded him and then watches as he turns to her. "You are here for a reason and I believe that with all my heart." Getting up, Maria has Naruto follow her out into the hall. Walking him down the decorated ship, they come into the lobby. There, above the clouds, he saw the stars. His eyes widened while they journeyed to the bay windows, looking out at them. He presses his palm against the glass, laying his forehead against it. Standing there, rubbing his back, feeling as he took a deep breath. He turns to her, holding up his hands. Slowly he began to spell out something to her, ADA making sure to copy the signs down for a quick translation later. Their names were Sakura Haruno and Kakashi Haddock, my world, we were always a team, closer than family. Because of me, because of people hunting me, they died. I was too late to a party they were throwing, a celebration in honor of our late leader who defeated a massive beast. He revealed to her slowly, she watched his face scrounge up. It's okay, you can tell me why, I'm not going to leave you. Naruto lifts his shirt up, channeling Charka just enough to reveal the tattoo. Maria never noticed that it had disappeared on him, up until now. She noted how it ornate, focused, and obviously deliberated. He lowers his shirt down, looking right at her. The beast that he defeated lives inside of me, because I'm a vessel. For the sole fault of being born, I was condemned to this, he continued signing, taking a seat inside of a chair, you probably think I'm a monster now too. Maria shook her head, sitting down, and looking right into his eyes. I think, despite not having any choice in it, you're brave child. She whispered to him while making sure he heard her, you're not a monster Naruto Uzumaki, you're just a hurt child, and you need love. Love? Naruto questioned with a hand sign. My father said that the very thing that could bring us down to be equals amongst each other is through love. Not romantic love, not familial love, but just love. To cherish the person next to you, because they stand next to you, and that you move with one purpose. Maria told him while holding his hands, whatever brought you here, hold on to that purpose and move with it. Naruto nods his head before looking off to the side, she comforts him, you are going through survivor's guilt. He snaps his back at her, removing one of his hands to sign, what's that? Maria took a deep breath, sighs, it's a response to extreme loss. Loss that you, yourself, feel shouldn't have survived. The blonde took a moment, biting his lip before signing, I made a pact with the beast inside of me. We killed the people who killed my family. The old woman nods, and did it ever make the pain go away? He shook his head, weirdly enough, just made the hole bigger. The more you take away from it, the bigger it gets, Naruto. You're trying to rationalize something that isn't rational. Every single feeling from is validated because it's yours. The more you try to push it down, the more it comes back up to the surface. Like waking up, fighting, because somewhere in your mind you think you changed their fates. Maria lectured him cautiously, making sure he wasn't hammering him. You're not afraid of me? Naruto asked, the real test question. Maria doesn't even hesitate and shook her head, not even a little bit, grandson. Those words hit him hard, at first recoiling before feeling hot tears roll down his eyes. The boy lunges forward, wrapping her into a hug. Sobbing into her shoulders, much like he did 3 weeks ago when she found him in the bathroom. She brings her arms around him, her adoptive grandson. She knew then, no matter what, he'd never be alone so long as she lived. Broken Moon, the problem with surviving was that you ended up with the ghosts of everyone you'd ever left behind riding on your shoulders. Paulo Basigalupi, the drowned cities. Inside of a tavern, sitting at a bar. A woman with a misleft arm sat there. Her blue hair flowed in the wind as she felt the person enter. She had waited for him. Sipping the drink, whiskey, the clothes she wore stolen off a dead bandit she killed along the road. Sitting down next to her, the man wore an orange mask with one eye appearing through the hole. Madara, the woman greeted softly before throwing back the drink. Why are you here, didn't see you at the meeting. Conan, look at you, the beautiful angel laid low by a mere child. Madara replied before sitting at the bar, watching as the man covered in paper struggled. Looking for a score to settle. I'm going to kill that little bastard, Conan stated before breaking the shot glass in her hands. I'll find him and kill anyone that he's turned on his side. Madara nods his head, reaching over and lifting mask up to drink from a can. Beer, something he had come to enjoy after raiding a bandit camp he ran across. The masked man lowers his mask after finishing the can. Crushing it in his hand, tossing it behind his back. Conan made paper bring her another liquor bottle, why weren't you there? I had prior engagements hunting down the seven-tailed Jinchuriki. He stated before laughing, feisty little girl, she was in the tower before everything got sucked up into it. Do you think she came here as well, Seven Tails? The brunette questioned before knocking down the bottle once for a few seconds, he was lucky that we were trapped in that in-between realm for a couple weeks. Indeed, he was, but he's got an entire world to hide on. I don't really want to slaughter town after town looking for him. It'll just make us hunted and I prefer we capture both him and the Seven Tails. Madara told her before she suddenly slams the bottle against his mask, that was very rude of you, Conan. There is no longer an Akatsuki, they're all dead. You selfish prick, you snake in the grass, we dedicated everything to this. Now, I don't even have the last bit of my friends, all for a plan that can no longer come to fruition. Conan argued before getting another liquor bottle. I'm going to take him apart slowly and then kill him. What makes you think the goal isn't to get back home? I'm sure with enough chakra, I can open up a rift back to our world, but I need at least the 9-tailed fox to do so. The 7-tailed beetle would just extra insurance. Madara reasoned with her, taking a deep breath. Normally I'd just kill you, but it'll be impossible for me to track him down in this world alone. So, you need me to help you track him. Yes, Conan, you were the angel of God for a reason. Nothing ever got past you. Together, we can hunt him down together. Madara took a deep breath. For some reason I cannot access Kamui in this world. Which means that demonic brat can't use any summoning jutsu, Conan realized with an evil smirk. No Jiraiya to contend with unless he figures out a way here. Indeed, that toad sage could have been an issue. Madara agreed with her and then chuckled sinisterly. Only fate would have that the little bastard would turn out to just be as much as a headache as his mother and father. You fraud his parents. I killed them, he corrected her sternly before getting up from the bar. Which is what I recommended you do to everyone here in this little bandit town. Conan drunkenly walks out of the bar, the town full of people wrapped in paper. This little hamlet having been taken over by bandits recently. This little town called Kurosaki, just due west of a city called Mistral. The woman snaps her fingers and everyone body wrapped in paper, screamed briefly before the papers all stain red. Blood slowly oozing from in between the edges. The green-haired girl wasn't too far away. She stood in a tree, looking over at the hamlet. Her orange eyes shining the dark before she grew a pair of wings. Flying off into the direction of where the city of Mistral was. Her body nimbly avoiding the trees. She had to find the 9-tailed fox's Jinchuriki before they did, only together would they have chance. Chapter 6. Act 1. On Wings and Aura. FK remembered it just like it was yesterday. She had been captured right outside of her village by a masked man. She thought it was over, especially when she was dragged into the tower. Begging and pleading for her life. However, someone heard her that day because the next thing she knew was that the tower itself was getting sucked into some sort of black vortex. The man's powers, ones that allowed him to phase through any attack, failed him as he was also sucked into it. The guards who had her shackled flew into it and she got lucky when her chains broke. She had flown as fast as she could, as fast as Jamae would let her. She saw someone, a boy as the darkness consumed the light, killing someone else in a wheelchair. Her first instinct was to fly over to him. Still, she decided to fly forwards, considering that others may be lurking in the darkness. She came out, in reality itself. Falling at first, her wings freezing up. She managed to use that golden powder she could produce to get heat onto them. Barely in time before nearly crashing into the forest below. That was a month ago, and she had been living on the outskirts ever since. What she saw in that bandit camp made her resolute to find him. That boy from before, the one she should have just went after to help. Because if these two were gunning for him, it was a matter of time before they caught up. Luckily, for her, Jamae had all the answers readily available. Turns out, tailed beasts could sense each other out. Which meant, no matter what, she had one sure means of locating him. Although Jamae, in his infinite wisdom, forgot to tell her which one of its brethren were here in this strange world with her. The 12-year-old took to the skies, flying through the forests as fast as she could. Occasionally, she looted old carts along paths and forests, getting things that nobody would miss anymore. She picked up on the technology quite easily since she pilfered a bandit camp one night. Stealing these things called scrolls and found herself fascinated with the world around her. Granted she's not been to the city yet and didn't know if that would be the play. If these two Akatsuki members were going into the city soon, then it might just be best to either find other means to track her fellow Jinchuriki or risk something what Jamae called a chakra pulse. It was like sending out a help signal for tailed beasts. No way would her fellow Jinchuriki miss or any other chakra user too. It meant that she would definitely let him know she was here, but then those two would gun for her almost straight afterwards. A gamble with a risk at the moment didn't make sense taking. Plus, if she seen it correctly, that brunette woman could fly like her. It'd be a day or two at most, they'd be right on her trail. Still, if there was a chance at fighting them, it'd be better if she had someone backing her up. She was under no illusion of going home, it was going to be impossible, but damn it she wanted to live. FK was going to live, and if that meant fighting, then so be. The only reason why she was within viewing distance of the two Akatsuki members was because of chance. She had been wandering around this bandit camp last night, intent to steal more food. She heard the screaming first, and the silence. Now, in this morning light, the true horror was that these two slaughtered that camp. Apparently finding it easier to just wipe a slate clean than to ask directions. FK had a map and determined that from where they were, the town of Higanbana was close. Gathering her strength, adjusting the white jacket she wore. The girl's back sprouted wings near where her tailbone should be and fluttered them before diving off the tree. She flew through the brushes, keeping barely above them as she stayed below the canopy. She saw them, those creatures the bandits called Grim. They were moving en masse toward that camp. Wolf-like creatures, ape-like, and even a giant two-headed snake. She prayed and hoped they'd just kill the two remaining members. If anything, taking one out of the game would prove to be just as great. Flying above the canopy to make sure she wouldn't be seen. She saw the first creatures break the tree line. Hope they feast on you, both of you, monsters. The mint-haired girl went to flying to the west, flying as fast as she could. Her beetle wings flapping as fast they could. She felt the cold air, from what she assumed was November, batter her. The more distance between her and them, the better she would be. Closing her orange eyes for a moment, establishing the mental link to her tailed beast, Chimay. Chimay, there are two Akatsuki guys active, I think they're also hunting the other guy too. You were lucky that another hole opened up and they somehow found a way to cut through. That boy has a good month head start. I don't know if that'll matter if they catch his scent though. Sighing in frustration, she groans mentally, couldn't you identify who it was? No, but my bet is that if he went down fighting, there's only two I know who would put up a fight that big. Chimay replied before letting FK get more chakra, Son Goku or Kurama. Chimay, I'm still getting used to the fact that you have a name. I'm sorry if that sounds rude, but I need to know who I'm possibly partnering up with if I can find them. FK replied while going higher into the sky, looking behind her to make sure she wasn't followed. She heard the giant beetle within chitter and then reply, Son Goku is the four-tailed beast. Prideful, has access to lava release much like I do gust release. So, he'd have a powerful ability to back it up. FK reasoned before getting near a cloud and going into it. Thank the gods for these things called thermal jackets. The only issue is that when the fabric of space-time was torn open. I felt his chakra leave the statue unless he somehow broke out himself, in which case this world would be in a state of panic. The giant beetle within her figured while continuing supplying more chakra, which only leaves Kurama whose chakra felt more suppressed in a way that only a Jinchuriki would do. Let me guess, Kurama is super strong. FK excited thought as she smirks, if he wiped out the Akatsuki in one go like that surely we together could. No. Chimay nearly deafened her mentally, Kurama is not to be trusted under any circumstances. He is the most powerful of us, but in being so, is that much closer to the demon we were spawned from. Oh yeah, the 10 tails, so what if his Jinchuriki uses him in a fight? I'm pretty sure that he couldn't harm us. The mint-haired girl continued to reason, dodging a flight of geese. Kurama has always been, too prideful. Ever since the death of our human brother Ashura, he hates humans with a passion. If he works with one, it's only to turn around and use them later. Whilst I understand that rage, it isn't exactly misplaced, unlike the rest of us he never moved on. Chimay mentally told his Jinchuriki, feeling her flight toward the geese, hunting. Girls gotta eat, FK replied before snatching the biggest one out of the flock. As much I view them as beautiful, I need to keep on my toes in case they come after me. If we're going to do a chakra pulse, then we'll need a significant distance. Chimay told her before feeling her dive down and then quickly landing on the ground near a small cave. Home sweet home. She enters the cave, going toward a fire pit. Blowing powder onto it, which lit up before she scarped flint near it. Once the flint struck each other, the put ignited into an orange blaze. Humming a tune she had learned from her mother, she begins defeathering the bird. She would need to eat hearty and prepare well. As she gutted the bird, putting the organs in a small basket she'd dump out randomly in the nearby woods, the girl sighed. She longed for the time she'd get to share a meal with someone again. Chimay, I've read over the continental map and the world map. This world is huge but weird because I've never seen so many landmasses. If they're here on Anima, wouldn't it make sense for us to fly eastward? There's this place called Vacuo, it looks like a huge desert. FK told him before setting the bird on the spit, turning it slowly. I don't think it's wise to head into any desert land. We need to be around forests for game, perhaps this place called Vale. I can do the chakra pulse and hopefully they'll only catch a faint glimmer of it. Chimay replied before chittering, still a heavy risk to involve ourselves with Kurama. He may be the only choice we've got, Chimay. As soon as we take care of the remaining Akatsuki hunting us down, we go on with just living life. I've no delusions about our current predicament, my people think I'm dead. However, for all their precautions, it seemed that Akatsuki failed to account for one of you being strong enough to possibly destroy that thing. She sighed openly before making it felt in the mental link, to think, I'm going on 12 and have no one. You have me. FK giggles at that, smiling, yeah, the one constant thing in my life has been you. Sorry, Chimay, I just meant humans, wonder if I'd fit in with those people called faunus. The ones with the animal traits. We could easily explain our wings, it seems they only possess one trait from an animal. Chimay realized before humming, there'll be the problem of acquiring documentation for us to live somewhere. Somehow, I don't think it'll be that difficult. Okay, well looks like my bird is almost done. I'm going to eat and then sleep. Tomorrow, we fly west to the coastal village of Shimazu. FK stated while marking a path on the map, then from there this continent of saneness. Okay, that doesn't sound like a terrible plan. With a little luck from yours truly, we'll be able to make it. Bonin replayed all of the images in her mind as she stared in front of the broken tower. From the moment the nine tails emerged out of Naruto Uzumaki to the point where its tailed beast bomb blasted against the statue. By all rights, the loss of her arm came from the initial explosion. She had reacted as she always had, cocooning herself in origami powered by chakra. It worked for blocking out the initial explosion. She only lost her left arm, but she's sure that Nagato would have taken care of the child. Especially as they floated into the rift, she found it ironic that she survived despite Haiden not being so lucky. The poor bastard was too close, had been too cocky to move, and when he got sucked into the initial explosion it vaporized him. Bikuzu, Kisame, Zetsu, Deidara and Sasori each met their ends that day. Kakuzu, much like Haiden, didn't move when he should've. Kisame probably survived the initial explosion, but if he had relied on his sword to absorb the energy, it was far too hopefully. Zetsu was the unknown, his body wasn't here, but she had a feeling that the plant would have made himself known by now. Deidara got crushed by the entire top of the tower and Sasori had been shredded. Between her and Madara, the only living people left of the Akatsuki were Itachi and possibly Zetsu. It didn't matter though, none of this mattered, the statue itself was still in the void in pieces. There was no chance of rebuilding it and even if they could attempt, it'd take decades. By then, given how fast Naruto Uzumaki grew in strength, he'd be untouchable. They'd mostly be in the ground, long dead from age. Madara himself stared at it, sighing under his breath, what a pointless amount of death. Pointless, Konan breathed as she looked around at the cold bodies. Half-eaten from wild game, her heart sinking. Nagato died a pointless death. Bastard, if it wasn't for the fact that I was missing an arm I'd try to kill you. Little broken blue bird, surely my heart weeps for you. Our plans are in ruin because a brat couldn't just die correctly. Perhaps, he's dead as well, and we're wasting our time. However, I have a goal involving the tailed beasts. Even if the statue is gone, I can still use them. Individually, each beast could take down a village without their cage, together they would be unstoppable. Madara stated while placing his arms behind his back, Zetsu must be dead by now, poor thing. Konan eyed him suspiciously, what makes you think that without a body? Simply speaking, Zetsu has been oldest ally, Konan. If hasn't reported to me now, he never will. I'm also believing that Itachi Uchiha was traitor because oddly convenient that he disappeared right about the time I was hearing of Konoha, Taki, and several other villages rallying to war against AIM. You tell me, why after 5 days of captivity did Itachi choose to leave for such an extended period? Madara explained to her before eyeing with his Sharingan eye. So, what are we even doing? We're not able to get the other tailed beasts from here. The 7 and 9 tails are here. Personally, if I get a hold of Naruto Uzumaki, I'm going to kill him. She spat before walking around the wreckage, I want my revenge. Careful now, girl, you're talking about our possible one-way ticket home. Madara chided before sitting against a tree, I have theory on why I cannot use Kamui at the moment. Go on, she motioned him while lifting up a kunai with her left hand and moving it in a circle. Why can't you phase through reality? We're in an entirely separate dimensional space. Away from our original, where the fabric may be weaker, but my pocket dimension is located within our world's dimensional pull. Whereas, it is not here, I cannot access it. He said before taking a deep breath, it seems that Naruto Uzumaki ended up being just like father, a thorn in my side. Who were his parents? His mother originally was the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails, Kushina Uzumaki. Redeeded woman, like most Uzumaki, including Nagato. Then there was the 4th Hokage, his pathetic father. A failure in successful clothing. He lost his whole team, save Kakashi Haddock, and look how that turned out. Kakashi's in the grave, where he rightfully belongs, but that Sakura girl that I do feel smidgen of guilt for. The man summarized before spitting the side. The pinket that Nagato and the paths killed. Why feel bad for her, she stood in the way. Purposely stalling, last thing she did before he pushed her head under the water with the diva path's foot was spit in his face. To think, if she had just given up Uzumaki, she'd go on to live. Konan criticized while taking stock. Madara sighs before taking a deep breath, let's just say I knew a girl like her once. She loved him to the bitter end, maybe not romantically, but if you die for someone you love them, and they love you. Are you saying that the destruction of our organization was on us too hasty? Conan growled disapprovingly as she picked up a few kunai. Naruto Uzumaki should have just surrendered his beast to us. Death would have come quickly and he'd seen her again. Madara grunts while looking at the landscape. You expect the child of an Hokage and a Jinchuriki to simply give up? It makes the most sense. I'll give him the praise that even in my wildest imaginations. I didn't think Uzumaki would have been the type to willing walk into the lion's den only to suicide bomb it. Make no mistake Conan, he fully intended to die. The question remains, why haven't we seen a body? Madara openly left unanswered as he got up, dusting snow off him. Conan growls while throwing the kunai at him, he easily catches it. Did I say something, woman, to have upset you so much? He growled while looking at the kunai because like it or not, Naruto Uzumaki outfoxed us. You act as though our comrades meant nothing. She yelled out in anger, her teeth bared. They may have meant a world to you, but in the end, everyone's world has the risk of falling to pieces. Yours has the fortunate prospect of only happening twice, my entire life is written on broken worlds. Madara lectured her before tossing the kunai back to her, none of them have a happy ending. Is that why you sometimes mention her name? Conan questioned with a breath, sneering at him, was the great Madara Uchiha once in love? I was very much in love, and I watched as one of my greatest friends killed her. So, yes, Conan, I mention her name time from to time. Because the world we'll create under the tailed beasts at my command is a world without more of her, nor child soldiers, and heartache. He answered her while walking past her, best we head east, according to this map a small town is there. With any luck, it could give us a lead to Naruto Uzumaki's whereabouts. She submitted before pocketing the kunai and walking with him. Yes, and when we have him in our grasps, I'll drain him to overpower the veil and breach into it with Kamui. 3 nights since the incident of the first night, Naruto once again found himself meditating in the room. Taking deep and slow breaths. Focusing under the watch of his adoptive grandmother Maria. He slowly opened his eyes, shaking his head. He sighed in defeat because once again, he just couldn't find that door to his soul. No dice, kid? Maria questioned, watching as he sheepishly rubbed the back of his head. No dice, sorry granny. Naruto signed before hopping off the table. You need to have your aura unlocked before you can enter a prep academy. Pharaoh's administrative manager called me back, he said he might fit you into the school or put in a word to signal. However, since I stated you're capable of fighting, they're going to give you a modified entrance test to see where they'd place you. Maria told him before sipping her tea, his cup remaining untouched. Naruto walked over to it, sipping on it. His eyes widened at the surprise of sweetness. Slowly savoring it, he set it down before stretching. Lapis and Sapphire were out of the room, currently going to get their dinner. Tonight was chili night, which Naruto had never tried. It came in 3 choices of deer, beef, and pork. Naturally, wanting to explore his options, he had chosen the deer chili. A soft knock at the door before it opened revealed Lapis carrying the bowls, whilst his sister carried a plate of burned sandwiches with something oozing out of them. Alrighty guys, we're back, got some good stuff. Sapphire got the grilled cheeses, enough for 2 for us each. Hey, Maria, do you think we can play some spades after this? Lapis inquired before sitting the bowls on the table, the styrofoam creaking a little. Naruto got over to the one marked deer, where Maria also had the same thing. Lapis had opted for the beef, whilst Sapphire had pork. Both opened the bowls to the reddish-brown goodness. Steam rose up from the hot thick soup. Beans, tomatoes, puree, and peppers. Sapphire got out some hot sauce packets, cutting 3 of them open before mixing it in her chili. Geez Af, don't set your mouth on fire. Lapis commented before watching his sister shrug. She giggles just a little bit, I love my chili spicy, Naruto. The blonde took some of the packets, ripping one before taking a taste test. She watches him blanch for a minute before turning bright red. His eyes lit up before ripped both packets, putting them into the chili. She laughed a little, finding it both weird and funny on how he reacted. She took her share of the grilled cheeses, quickly dipping her sliced sandwich. Naruto took one, doing the same thing, and bit into it. It tasted like heaven, with the warm cheese oozes mixing with the slightly spicy soup. Killing the spice, but keeping the flavor. He noted mentally that he would need to learn how to make, well pretty much, all of this. Maria watches him, smiling under bent over frame as she took a spoonful of chili into her mouth. It wasn't bad, but these kids probably never had it good. She remembered a time where her father and her hunted a deer, butchered it, and had deer chili that same night. That left some game in the meat, which a lot of people turned away from. She didn't it, always loving things that were fresh. So, Sapphire looked at Naruto, I overheard that your grandma is getting you into pharaohs. Naruto nods his head, confirming what she overheard. She smiles and then looks toward her brother, Lapis, why don't you try out? Because my aura sucks, Lapis answered before flaring it. Maria looked at the kid, noting that indeed, his aura was very weak. If she had to guess, it would be a measly class I type. An aura which is very limited, very weak, but it also meant that usually carried with it a strong semblance. I don't know how well you do, but it never hurts to try for it. Maria stated before sipping some of her tea. The brunette boy rolls his eyes, I'm just saying if I could. Naruto looks at him, signing, no could, only do or don't. Yeah, well, I just want to know how you took out some grim without an aura. Lapis questioned before leaning back in his chair, it's obvious to me that your grandmother is an ex-huntress. Indeed, I am Sunny boy, Maria supported before going back to her chili. Which makes me wonder, Naruto, how come you haven't unlocked yours yet? He questioned the blonde, watching as he finished the next spoonful. He signs back toward Lapis, just never got into the whole mediation thing. Couldn't you just unlock it for him? Sapphire inquired from Maria, who stops for a moment. Naruto smirks a little bit, then eats another spoonful as Maria answers her, I could probably easily unlock it for him, but the thing is what reward is that? If you work for something and earn it, that in of itself is the reward. Never thought of it that way. She admitted before laying on her knuckle, I'm just saying if he needs help, wouldn't it be better for him to get it? That is a good point, but he's already refused my help. He wants to do this one on his own, right? Maria inquired from Naruto, watching as he nodded his head. See, I'm not the one being stubborn here. Sheesh, boys, always too stubborn. Sapphire commented matter-of-factly. Lapis raises an eyebrow at her, well, I was going to unlock your aura too sis when I got strong enough. But maybe Naruto has a point. What, hey. She protested before blushing and going back to her chili. Maria looked at the children, smiling, I wish I had my own, but I think I'll settle with these munchkins. The shinobi from unknown lands, the brother and sister thieves. I don't think I'd have it any other way. Naruto suddenly burps, making everyone turn to him. The blonde sheepishly rubs the back of his head, blushing. Lapis giggles under his breath a little bit, while Sapphire just pinches her nose at the rudeness. Maria herself found it rather distastefully funny, only because for him not being able to speak, that sounded like thunder. Well, we can certainly say that he likes hot sauce, Sapphire grimaced before going back to her chili. She dips another slice of the grilled cheese into it, eating it up afterwards. I'll say, you never heard someone belch so loud. Damn, ow. Lapis yelped as his little sister punched him in the arm, why? No cussing at the dinner table. She chided her older brother before going back to her chili. He just sighs, looking at Maria, is there such things as siblings abuse? That's adorable that you let that little munchkin beat around you like that, mister I have an aura. Maria laughed while grabbing her grilled cheese slice, proceeding to dip it. Would you like me to call you a sibling divorce lawyer while at it? He blushes before looking away pouting, whatever, geez, Naruto can you back me up here? The blonde looks right at him, deadpanned, it was something that he didn't even need to sign. His look in of itself says you're on your own plastered all over it. Grabbing his tea, the blonde drinks a little bit more of it. Sighing in content with a mixture of the dinner and tea, the shinobi just leans back in his chair. After an hour they finished their dinner, Lapis and Naruto cleaning up the table. Soon enough, the quartet found themselves engaged in a game of spades. With, of course, Naruto somehow constantly drawing the big joker, small joker, and ace of spades. Meaning no matter what they did, they couldn't exactly catch him. Each and every bid he made was either board, which was 4, or some ridiculous 8. Behold Naruto Uzumaki, the greatest spades player alive, is what would have been said if he didn't occasionally get said every so often. Lapis himself wasn't too far behind in the game, with him finally getting up on the board near Naruto. Playing to 500 was a labor in of itself, because they were playing Naruto. Who usually devolved the game on the merit of losing the hand, he just sandbags. Maria herself had gotten frustrated once or twice. That was all over when the blonde slammed down an entire hand of straight spades. Spades had something called a Vacuoin run, which basically meant that all 13 bags were winnable in a hand. Naruto, having actually bid the run, had slapped down something that even Maria thought was cheating until she replayed her ATA. Naruto had every spade to run everyone's hand out and still be on top. Slamming her hand down, Sapphire groans, come on I didn't even get into the positives this time. Cheese and crackers, what the actual hell? I mean my hand was stacked with hearts, that must mean you two have stacked hands in clubs and diamonds. Lapis realized while looking toward the blonde, how do you do it? Naruto shrugs, looking off to the right while signing, I've always been good at card games. We need to make a fake ID for him and go to a casino, we'd make bank. The brunette Wolfrona stated, what do you say about that Maria? I'm usually against that, but I've been playing spades all my life. Never have I been set by someone who claims to be a beginner. I'm starting to believe that my grandson isn't such an honest card player at all. Maria stated before watching her adoptive grandson wink at her while sticking out his tongue. Yeah, laugh it up at you little punk. Cannot wait to start hand-to-hand training with you. Naruto begins to sign, smiling brightly, I am number one in card games. Sapphire rolls her eyes, sighing, of course you are. Well, kids, this old woman is beat. I'm going to head to bed, Maria stated before getting up from the table. You all get some shut-eye too, Naruto, do you think you're safe to mediate tonight? Naruto smiles, nodding before putting away the deck of cards. Lapis and Sapphire both watch him climb up onto the table. Sitting cross-legged, closing his eyes while focusing. They had heard about what happened and agreed to stay up a little later just in case he had another attack come over him. They slowly learned that he had friends prior to being brought in by his grandmother and they died protecting him. Survivor's guilt, which is what Sapphire read about, could be such a tragic state of mind. She heard Lapis get on his bunk before climbing up to hers. She looked at Naruto before smiling softly, good night Naru. Naruto's eyes opened at the pet name, then he smiled before closing them again. She giggles childishly before climbing under her covers. She watched him closely for about the first hour before slowly drifting to sleep. Broken moon, let your hopes, not your hurts, shape your future. Robert H. Schuller. Naruto was walking through the dark tunnels of this mindscape. Going through various doors, he finally sighed before noting something that Maria had said about aura. That it came from the soul, and the soul from what he learned back in the academy in Konoha was spiritual energy. Thinking to himself, he climbed up the wall, observing the pipes. The blue pipes, of course, were his chakra flow. The red was the nine tails. They were constantly mixed somewhere and Naruto noted the smaller connecting pipes. Obviously, this had to be his physical and spiritual energies mixing. Taking a deep breath, he chose the pipe that was orange in color. He follows it quickly, running down the halls and bashing open the doors it had led to. Soon enough, he noted a change in scenery. What was murky water started to become clearer. Ceiling of a dingy sewer replaced with clear blue skies. Finally, breaking through the final door. Naruto found something very interesting, it was a small garden of sorts. A patch of dirt with flowers all around it and inside of it was a figurine made of orange. It looked up at him, waving, the blonde slowly walked over toward it. He noted that the figurine had a similar look to himself but was also inhumanly different. Being that he had no eyes, mouth, nor nose. The hair was the same and body figure, but that's about it. Hello? Naruto called out before walking forward. The figure was joined by another, this one bright as a golden sun, and observed as it stood up. Naruto walked over toward it, extending his hand out. The golden figurine, who bore a resemblance to someone else Naruto had recently seen but couldn't exactly put his finger on it. Slowly, the orange figure reached out, taking a hold of his hand. Eventually, like a bubble, the orange started to surround Naruto. Who smiles at the warm thick feeling. His body glowed, power coming to life around him. The golden figure merely nodded his head before slowly walking away, but if Naruto could see closer, unlike the orange one, he had a face. A smile laced across it. Naruto woke up from the meditation, more relaxed than ever. He got down from the table, looking at himself in a small mirror. He noted something different, a glow. He looked around his arms, seeing a thick orange soup gathered around them. His eyes peered into the mirror, watching as the orange soup surrounded him. Is this my aura? What if Naruto has harem with Calavera and Ruby? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.